Morning, Raptor Freak. Alexiot's here. Thursday Think Tank. It's the Thursday Think Tank. And today's Thursday Think Tank is about Kevin Durant and all the Kevin Durant buzz this week. And Kevin Durant this, Kevin Durant that. They're throwing out a couch in front of my house right now, right at 9:30. That's why there's all this noise. There's garbage men out there throwing things in the garbage because the neighbor moved, and there's like just so much out there. So they may be out there for the first 5 minutes of my stream making a racket, throwing couches in a garbage truck. Good morning to you guys. All right, let's see. Monique is here. She's saying, love all the chatter surrounding Ron Harper from Trevor Gleason. Even Akil thinks he should have gotten drafted. It's great to see Scotty at Global Jam, Masai, etc. So much to talk about. You know what? It's funny. I may have put Kevin Durant in a Raptors jersey as the picture for today, but that we may ignore this, guys. This may be the subject. Yeah, what is there to say about this? Actually, there is stuff I can say about it. There have been some changes, but we can ignore it and talk about all the other stuff that's going on that's awesome. Like, I love what Monique said about Trevor Gleason's interview yesterday. He says that they're going to try and determine whether Ron Harper Jr. is ready to be in the rotation for the main Raptors, or he needs to be more a two-way in on a five more. He's not sure. That from what he's seen in practice so far this week, that Ron Harper Jr. may be ready to be on the regular Raptors right away. That is exactly what Trevor Gleason said yesterday in his interview. He said that Ron Harper, they're trying to assess whether he needs to be in the regular rotation for the Raptors or he needs to be going two-way like 905 kind of route, because that's how well he's doing. That's amazing. And then the Global Jam last night. Oh my gosh, what a fail by me not going to the Global Jam last night. I ended up not going. I wanted to go, but there are different things happen and different things. I got real busy and I ended up not going. And meanwhile, it was like the place to be. Everybody was at Global Jam last night. Our boy Scotty Yeserski, Mr. Scooter Barnes, was there looking fire with this Tiger shirt on, showing up and look just being a badass. Honestly, SGA was there, the Arkells were there, Bobby and Masai were there. Everybody was there. I really screwed up not going to that Global Jam game last night, USA versus Canada, and great games, which Canada won 2 close games, the women's and the men's. And wow. I was with Scotty on Twitch earlier in the day, and I was, we all kinds of stuff talked about yesterday. Very interesting stuff. Scotty is a big fan of Chet Holmgren, and he was standing up for him. He was saying things to me almost specifically. I felt like he was talking to what I've been saying about Chet, and he's saying some interesting things. I'll share all this stuff with you during this stream. Don't worry. All right, Monique's also saying Precious still doing his camps. Yeah. Precious was in Hamilton this week doing his camps. He's going to be in Winnipeg soon. He's going all over the place with his camps in Canada. I love it. Precious Achua, you're a badass. Keep going. And Otto Porter Jr. showing up in Toronto yesterday with his press conference. He said some very interesting things yesterday in his press conference. We'll get to all of this. Here's G. G is saying that Bolton with some more cryptic tweets. That's right. King Bolton, best friend of Gary Trent Jr., had another Tom Duke Rebus special for us with the emoticons and the symbols. And basically his message this time is roll it back with the guys in Toronto and go get championship rings, is what King Bolton is saying now. That in a way, I think what happened with Bolton is that he was kind of being a troll. He was kind of listening and hearing the Raptors fan nation and Raptors media talking about Gary Trent and OG Anunoby being real easy to trade, and that he wanted to make light of this and kind of get on us for it. It's like, oh, you trying to trade my Relly? You trying to trade my Relly? And then he's putting all these little pictures up with, eyes on Statue of Liberty and stuff like that. I think that's just Bolton showing, in some ways it's the kind of thing where you're in a relationship and you say, yeah, you really want to break up with me? You better think about it. Yeah, think about it twice before you just go ahead and do it, because you may really miss me. And this may be what King Bolton's doing for Gary Trent Jr. right now and showing that. So, good stuff. Rahul, good to see you. What's up, Rahul? From the front office, you got to let me know what's the down low on what's going on, yo. I didn't lose my internet connection YouTube cut my stream off. I was still online. It just said, you're done, and said, close your connection. I could have gone back on, but you know what? I'm coming here every day anyway. So what's the point? I'll just show up. I can finish the content I was going to do yesterday today. It's the think tank. We're always here for a little while. But yeah, that's what happened, man. It just went dead. It didn't do like unstable connection or anything. It just said, you're cut, done, and then you close it, is what it told me. And it was messed up. I was really upset because I was like, I have stuff to say. But I'm realizing now that the two streams where I've gotten messed up like that, I have dissed Chet Holmgren pretty heavily. So I'm going to stop dissing him on this channel, not only because it looks like he could be okay, but also because there's something weird. The two times my stream has been interrupted and messed up completely, that has been the singular same thing that was happening both times. Now, I will say about Chet Holmgren just real quick, he was getting pushed around a lot by Kenny Lofton Jr. last night in the Summer League. Like, this is part of what I was saying about him, that there's problems. That this man can't stand on the blocks. He can get pushed right underneath the basket and easily scored on. And this is going to happen to him by many, 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 many NBA players in this league are going to do this to him. They're going to bully ball him. So he may be a defensive liability in some ways. They may have to not play him at center. They might have to play him outside the block and have to play him around the wing somewhere instead of right down below, because he's going to get abused. He's going to get absolutely abused this year. That's why there's a dichotomy to Chet Holmgren that is deceiving. He's like, he looks really good offensively, but I'm going to tell you right now, he's a shit defensive player. He's going to be absolutely a shitty defensive player. Rahul's saying Indiana should not do a sign and trade with the Suns for Ayton. You know what? Listen, this is interesting. You brought this up, Rahul, because this could throw everything in the Kevin Durant thing, everything for Brooklyn, everything for Phoenix upside down. DeAndre Ayton doesn't have to sign with Phoenix. He doesn't have to do jack shit with Phoenix now. They've let him go. He's unrestricted. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. And you know what he's going to do, and he could do? And this is going to mess everything up. It's going to mess things up for Kevin. It's going to mess things up for Brooklyn. And it's going to mess things up for Phoenix. DeAndre Ayton can just straight up go to the Indiana Pacers and say, just sign me. He doesn't need to do anything with Phoenix at this point. They have enough money to sign him and just straight up rob the Phoenix Suns of DeAndre Ayton. So when this happens, what it means is that Indiana will not do a sign and trade for him with Indiana. So that means that like Indiana won't get anything back for him. So I could see this happening. The DeAndre's pissed at Phoenix in some ways. He's just going to straight up sign with Indiana and leave. And there won't be any kind of thing for Phoenix to give back to Brooklyn for a sign and trade and doing with Kevin Durant. So in a way, this kind of, if Ayton does this and goes to Indiana that way, it's going to really mess up the Durant sweepstakes. And what it's going to do is it's going to put Brooklyn Nets in a really bad position. They're already in a bad position with the Kyrie thing. They're going to be in a worse position with Kevin Durant. And it's going to look more and more like they should just run it back with those guys. Because listen, the Raptors aren't going to get fleeced. You got to understand, Brooklyn Nets, you're going to have to make a bad deal if you want to get rid of these guys, whether it's Kyrie with the Lakers or Kevin Durant with us. That you're not going to get the farm from these teams. The Lakers can't give you the farm, first of all. We could, but we're not going to because we're smart and we're not going to do that kind of crap. And we don't have to do jack shit. And honestly, the Lakers in some ways don't either, but they are a little bit more desperate to move Westbrook. That's for sure. So in some ways, the dysfunction of Kyrie and his moves and overtures towards LA and the dysfunction of Kevin Durant requesting a trade and causing all this press drama in the last week is going to come back and bite Brooklyn in the ass, because it's going to look like that these dudes are pieces that cannot be moved. They cannot be moved any which way, and they're going to have to come back and play together. And just think about that dysfunctional stew of another year, another wasted year of Kevin's career, another wasted year in Brooklyn where they lose because they're dysfunctional. They don't really want to be there. Their heart isn't in it. And that team is just going to be garbage. Like, honestly, nobody's going to be happy with it. The fans won't be happy with it because they want Kevin gone at this point in a lot of ways. They don't want Kevin Durant on their team. They don't want Kyrie Irving on their team. And, well, that may be just what they're getting. is that they're going to run it back, because part of it is we've seen Brooklyn picking up different players and free agent signings this week, which points to them kind of, yeah, well, we need to play both sides. Whether we get rid of these big names or not, we need to be ready and have a roster also. So this situation is horrible for Brooklyn. I'm not going to lie. This situation is the worst for them. Anybody who thinks that Brooklyn's going to get a huge deal or get the most picks or the best things for this Kevin Durant or anything like that, they're dreaming, because basically Kevin Durant is on clearance. Kevin Durant is in the clearance warehouse, and he is going to be marked down, and they're going to be getting less for him than they thought they would. So it's going to be fantastic. I think that this is just an amazing dumpster fire, and that it's just getting worse and worse for Brooklyn as time goes on. And once again, we're safe. We're fine. We're going to just do what we're going to do. And if it all works out where we have Kevin Durant at the end of it, hey, that's fine. But we don't live and die by that. Honestly, send him here. Go ahead. Honestly, never mind. We don't give a shit about getting Kevin Durant. Go ahead and send him to Phoenix, just like Charles before him. Send him to Phoenix. We don't give a fuck. Send him to Phoenix. We're sick of all this anyway. So, all right, let's see. Rahul's saying Raps have leverage when it comes to KD sweepstakes. We absolutely do. And that's part of why it hasn't happened. And that's part of why what we're hearing from Brooklyn Nets is that they're willing to be patient and wait and see if this deal gets any better for them. It's not. It's not. Y'all may even get worse, because it may get more desperate as we get closer to this season, and they may like make their price go down just to get it done. So Bobby and Messiah have more patience, and they can just wait. Go ahead, Brooklyn. We're your Huckleberry. We'll call your bluff. You go ahead and just sit on Kevin Durant for the rest of the year. We don't even need to do shit to help y'all out. So, this is great. We're once again, no lose scenario for Toronto Raptors either way. Tom Duke, good morning. Does it make sense for teams to sell your house to buy a car, even if that car is a Lamborghini? Windhurst. That's a Wendy quote. Wow. And he's the only one at ESPN that's got it figured out. He's like, the Raptors don't have to do jack shit, and the Nets are going to have to pay a lesser deal back for Kevin Durant than what they really wish for. That's just how the reality of the situation is. That Brooklyn, you're in a bad place, and the other people should be able to fleece you because you're in a bad place. That's just the way of the world. It's convenience, and you're in trouble. Well, you're gonna have to pay a premium to get out of that trouble. That's how it works. Tom Duke has got a house over a car. Yeah, today's world, sometimes a car is a house. Sad as that is. Click saying, no KD, please. No KD. That's right. Click is saying, go ahead. Go ahead, Brooklyn. Just send him right on over to them. We don't care. Go ahead. Let Phoenix have him. Go ahead and make a deal for Ayton and make it happen. You better do it quick, because Ayton looks like he might just sign with Indiana and just get out of the picture altogether. And that'll be hilarious. Rahul is saying KD ends up with Miami by 2023 trade deadline. That's interesting. Yeah, I hope not. I don't want to see KD in a Miami Heat jersey. Honestly, Miami Heat fans get so spoiled in different ways and different things, and they don't necessarily deserve Kevin Durant down there. I just hope that he messes up their team if he goes down there. So you want to get Kevin Durant Miami, you go ahead and get him, and I hope you guys just get messed up for the year because of it. Rahul saying Suns are not getting Turner or additional first-round pick for Ayton. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think he's just going to walk. Like, that's the thing. The Pacers don't need the Suns to do nothing at this point. Apparently, they have enough money in their salary cap to just straight up free agent sign DeAndre Ayton away from them. There doesn't need to be a sign and trade. There could just be a sign. And that's hilarious to me. Shane Waters is saying, good morning, friends, at Tom Duke. Facts. Gas expensive anyway. I'll take a Prius. Yes, please. Prius for you. Prius for you. Prius for you. Yes, we'll all take Priuses. Rahul saying Indiana trades Turner with a pick to get additional assets. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly how it's working. All I know is that I heard yesterday that Indiana can just straight up get him. Click saying Ayton on the Pacers would actually be good. They would have a lot of young, talented players, and he can expand his role. Yeah, I think it's a good fit. It's a good team for him and stuff like that. That's not too much of a power player. It could be more balance of equality in the Eastern Conference, make the Pacers uptick a little bit higher in the whole conference. and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't mind him being there. I don't think he'd be a problem. I don't think he's going to be a problem anywhere in the Eastern Conference, honestly. Like he'll be good, he'll help a team, but he's not going to become a problem. You know what I mean? Rahul's saying Flex Suns on Twitter is confident that they're getting KD. Well, that's fine. Go ahead, Suns fan. You guys want him so bad. You go ahead. You be careful what you wish for too. And honestly, that's a much more attractive destination for Kevin Durant than Miami to Raptor fan. Of course, obviously. Go ahead and go to the Western Conference. Go play for them. Good morning, Monique. Good to see you. Always in the morning. See how you're doing. Seymour saying Mathurin and Ayton, both Arizona Wildcats. They should link with Indiana and build something. Well, by that theory, they should go get Coloco too, and why not go get Mike Bibby and Miles Simon? But yeah, I mean that would be a good connection, honestly. All joking aside, Seymour, you're right that if these guys actually, I don't think Ayton was around in Arizona when he was there though, so it's not like they may know each other because Ayton's alumni and he comes by and he hangs out and works out with them maybe a little bit, but they never played together though. So, all right, let's keep going. Rahul saying Brian Winders mentioned Raptors will stay packed and not bite to Nets demands. Yeah, they're doing that. Like last night, there was some hilarious stuff. Like Bobby and Masai are at the Global Jam. They're chilling. Bobby's wearing like a weird tie-dye green hoodie everybody's making fun of. And they're sitting there. And there's one real awkward moment where they're sitting there and all of a sudden comes up behind them Jalen Harris. Yeah, Jalen Harris was at the Global Jam game last night. And there's a clip of him coming up behind Masai and tapping him on the shoulder and them turning around and see, whoa, oh, Jalen. And Bobby's like, oh, hey, yeah. Awkward, because July the 1st has passed and this man has not been reinstated. This man does not have anything to do with the NBA yet. And these are the guys who were kind of like, he probably came over there and say, hey guys, do you know about anything about my reinstatement? Is basically it's in such a public place too. Like Jalen Harris coming up to Bobby and Masai and asking him that. Oh man, that's crazy. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. These guys are so smart, Bobby and Masai. Like they bring Scotty to this game last night. Like, listen, we were with Scotty during the day yesterday. He was playing 2K yesterday for a couple hours in the middle of the day. And then at some point he said, I'm going to go work out. I'll be back later and stuff like that. But he probably went to OVO and worked out. And they had the Otto Porter press conference there and they had different people around and he talked to Bobby and Masai and he said, hey, we're going to Global Jam tonight. Do you want to come with us? We can get you tickets. You come sit and watch. And Scotty was like, yeah, sure. So he went and got a Fire Tiger shirt, had his hair done up all nice and twisty already. And yeah, he went there and he looked like a badass. I'm just got to say, Scotty, your swag and style is on point. And look, seriously, people saw that picture of you at Global Jam last night and they said, this man can never leave Toronto because he is just too cool, is what's going on right there. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I love the joke that Alex Wong had from the Raptor show this morning on Twitter. He says, I went up to Bobby and offered him $500 to see his phone and he refused. That's the kind of like toughness against leaks the Raptors GM has. Is like, go ahead and offer him $500 for his phone so you can look at it. And he said no. And I know he's joking. He didn't do that, but that's a pretty funny joke, Alex Wong. Kudos to you. That's pretty funny. Monique is saying Otto Porter Jr. press conference was amazing. Yes, what a pro. Dude, this dude is quality. This dude is pro quality, man. And when he came in, all the smoothest answers. And I love what he's saying about, listen, I see this team and the positionless scheme that they're building here, and it really works. I can tell you that. And having played Toronto many, many years, I know this is a great city. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm ready to help y'all win another championship here. And I think that y'all are closer and ready more than people think. And that is why I'm here as Otto Porter Jr. I just won a championship. I feel real good. And I feel like we can do that here, that I want to take you guys to the finals, help you guys get to the finals and win a championship. And that's all Otto Porter and Nick Nurse and Scotty Barnes and Fred VanVleet and all these guys are thinking about is winning another championship. And that Otto Porter, somebody who's been in the NBA a long time, who's just on a championship team, he can realize and see the potential of the Toronto Raptors, even in this season coming up. And then when people like Raptor fans once again always want to downplay how good we are. I don't even know if they are Raptors fans. They may be just NBA fans that pay attention to the Raptors or live in Toronto, but they always downplay it. You guys are not a contender. They look at our roster and they say, the Raptors aren't a contender right now. You motherfuckers are so full of shit. You know we're a contender. Listen, we have an all-star, an all NBA. We have the rookie of the year. We've got a new free agent that's coming from a championship team. We've got so much good stuff on our team, and that they just don't want to open their eyes to it. And that they feel like if they just continually say that we're not a contender, that we're not good, that's just what's going to happen to us. And that's not what's going to happen to us. The reality is within our players and our staff and our front office. They know the reality of our team. And so does Otto Porter Jr., because he came to the press conference, he said it himself, that he thinks this team is close to winning a championship. And that as Raptor fans, don't sewer our chances and expectations by thinking, oh, well, we're good, but I don't think we'll win. We can compete for a championship. Bullshit. And this isn't even contingent on us getting Kevin Durant. We're going to be a championship contender regardless of Kevin Durant showing up in Toronto or not. So get ready for that, Raptor fan, and don't sewer us like we did last year. Last year, what were we saying going into the season last year? We're a developing team. Oh, if we make the playoffs, I'll be happy. All that kind of stuff. No, let's aim high and believe, because that's how we help them get higher, is by all collectively believing in it and going for it and stuff like that. The team believes it. Why wouldn't we? They're the ones who are the most important to believe it. So we should believe in them, is what I'm saying. All right, let's keep going. Click saying Brooklyn, in a way, doesn't have a lot of leverage because they are the ones who are being forced to trade him. The more they keep him, the more toxic it will get. Yeah. Last season was toxic because of the vaccine and Kyrie and people missing and unhappiness. You don't think that unhappiness is going to go away? It's not going to go away. They're going to continue to have issues, especially if both of them are still there. Seriously, like Kyrie has bought a house in LA. He obviously does not want to be in Brooklyn. Listen, even if he has to stay in Brooklyn another year, he has already said, and I've heard this in the press, that he is trying to get the Lakers as soon as he can. It may be the Lakers or Clippers, but he just wants to be in Los Angeles. So even if he gets traded to another team or something like that, he says he's going to do a Kawhi, and he's going to force himself to California eventually. So go ahead and try and figure it out with Kyrie Irving. Think about how he's going to be this year. He was already half-assed last year. If he really doesn't want to be there, on top of it, like last year, he did want to be there, but this year he doesn't want to be there. And if he has to be there, that's no fun. And the same thing goes for Kevin. Is that, like, listen, their heart's half in being Brooklyn now. Brooklyn fans are already kind of turning on them both. So it's just ugly and toxic. Exactly what Click's saying. This is why they're a dumpster fire. And maybe, who was it? I think it was Shane Waters was saying maybe you need to put Brooklyn number one on your dumpster fire ratings. And that might be more and more true as we get closer to the season. And the Durant and Kyrie Irving stuff has not been resolved. That toxicity should put them in number one. And the Lakers may be getting better partly. Part of the reason why the Lakers toxicity rankings going down is because LeBron is actually taking a step back this offseason. That he's not playing GM. He's like, you know what? I totally fucked up last year by being the guy. I want this guy. I want this old guy. I want this old guy. Well, he's not telling them who to get this year. That the GM, Rob Pelinka, is actually making the moves right now to get guys like Thomas Bryant, and like Juan Toscano Anderson. They picked up some new players, and they're younger players. So you can tell that LeBron is hands off on trying to manage the team this summer, and that's lowering their toxic quality to the Lakers. And meanwhile, Brooklyn's is kind of ticking up. So there's a little dumpster fire power rankings update. Let's see. Seymour saying these guys are divas. Kevin just said it for attention, which worked. It killed all trade talks with Julius Randle, John Collins, and all other trades that should have been done by now. Yeah, and listen, it's been toxic for us too. Like, it's been toxic for the Suns. It's been toxic for different places. Miami, it's toxic for them too. The thing for us though, and I was really thinking about this a lot this morning, is that, this is toxic. And in some ways, this could be some sort of weird snake game that Kevin Durant's playing, that he sees that Toronto doesn't have any problems. He's like, well, I could use myself as a lure and make this a really bad situation not just for Brooklyn, but maybe on the down low, he's like, no, I'm cool with you guys. I'm just playing. I want to see what kind of things I can rile up. And he's, trying to see if we, as an organization, turn on our players, like cast them aside, like Gary Trent Jr. and OG, and then they're disgruntled. Or maybe that he causes problems on our roster because we're so quick to show our hand for who we would ship for him. And that they may be feeling. Ugh. Now, I think internally, Bobby is really smart how he deals with this. It's like OG and Gary are telling him, let's say, Bobby, what's going on? Tell me what's happening. Am I getting traded? Bobby's like, listen, guys, I will tell you straight up if something happens. You will know. Don't worry. I'm not going to blindside you. You guys are going to know first before everyone else. So don't worry about it. I got your back. Because this is the way you have to handle this. Because some front offices are really not classy, and they'll trade somebody without telling them, and they'll find out through the news. Well, the Raptors, they need to be like this. They need to keep in touch with OG and Gary specifically, if not the rest of the guys, Fred, Pascal, and keep them updated on what exactly their plans are and what they're trying to do. Because it's better to have these guys in the loop. They're real good about not letting leaks out and stuff like that. So they need to be real good about being humanitarian towards these guys that are in the trade rumors, because you don't want to cause a rift if the trade doesn't happen and they're still on the team, and then they feel like, you know what, yeah, you were ready to trade me away, and then they're pissed off. That's part of the insidiousness of the toxicity of Kevin Durant and what he's doing right now, is that it has waves of possible rifts forming in other teams because people are trade bait all of a sudden. So I want to try and minimize this kind of stuff. That's why on Saturday, it's the Share the Love Club, Gary Trent Jr. That's right. We're going to go all out to share the love for Gary Trent Jr. on Saturday morning. So please come share the love for Gary Trent with me. But yeah, he did all kinds of exactly what Seymour's saying. He killed all the trade talking. He put the league at a standstill. He put a lot of people on edge. He's put fans on Twitter refresh on edge. He's put players like Gary Trent Jr. on edge. This is not cool, Kevin. And, yeah, I hope that it just comes back and bites you and the Brooklyn Nets in the ass the most by the end of this. You should not necessarily get exactly what you want. Now, if you come to Toronto and everything works out fine, yeah, we'll make it smooth for you. We'll make a smooth landing for you. But yeah, this has been a circus and we're sick of it. And that's why this think tank today is called Honestly Nevermind, Kevin Durant. Like, we're so sick of the talks. If they're not going to happen, they're just getting drawn out, then who cares? Who gives a fuck? Go ahead and go to Phoenix. Go ahead and go to the Suns, Kevin. We don't care. Go ahead and just stay in Brooklyn. We don't care. If you end up in Toronto and the deal is fair, okay, we like that too. But, we're sick of it. So today we're going to talk about all kinds of other things other than Kevin Durant. Also, if you want to talk about Kevin Durant, I will bring him up still. But I think I pretty much said what I want to say about him today. That Ayton may just straight up sign with Indiana, and that may throw a whole bunch of monkey wrenches into this whole plan of trying to move him to Phoenix. And then that means that the only realistic trade partner is us. And then, like, we're not budging, they're not budging, and they're saying, well, we'll take more time and stuff like that. They think we're going to change. We're not going to get more desperate. Y'all will get more desperate, and y'all will have to change your end of the bargain is what's going to happen and stuff like that. So it's insane. It's very interesting, and it is very toxic. Monique saying Precious camps were amazing. Yeah, I bet that would be really cool to go to a camp with Precious at it and stuff like that. So if you're in Winnipeg and you haven't gone to that one, you should go. And Monique's saying, go to Phoenix. Go to Phoenix, Kevin. This is a Barkley jersey. Barkley says, go to Phoenix, baby. Go to Phoenix. Go to Phoenix. Monique saying Scotty and company were at Global Jam. Gleason interview was very informational. Yeah, Scotty was there. The scene that I liked, I saw a picture of SGA sitting with that singer from the Arkells. Like, the Arkells dude is like, all right, he's buddies with Nick Nurse, and now SGA, he's getting coached by Nick Nurse. So it's like they have a friend in common. So it's like SGA's at Global Jam. He could be at Summer League watching Chet Holmgren and those guys in Utah, but no, he's in Toronto watching Team Canada play USA in men's and women's basketball at this old Maple Leaf Garden, sitting in the arena with Arkell's lead singer, and Scotty Barnes is there too. And some people are saying, why isn't Bobby and Masai talking to SGA or stuff like that? They don't want no tampering charges, and there's no reason to talk to him right now. He's locked up. But, this is always good for the future that, SGA may think, this Toronto stuff is a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun playing for Team Canada, being around Hamilton and Ontario right now, and my family. And, I'm seeing the love for basketball in Toronto right now with this global jam. And I'm like, Oklahoma City's fun, but, they're kind of just keep retreading the youngsters underneath me. And like, where are we going to go? Maybe down the road, SGA, Trevor Gleason's interview, Monique, was badass. First of all, I love having a coach that's Australian on our team. Like his voice, obviously the accent and stuff like is so cool, but it makes it so fun to hear him say something like, "That's the brand of Raptors basketball we like." Like when he says something like that, it sounds so cool with his accents. The brand of Raptors basketball that we like. I'm like, yeah, Trevor Gleason talking that Raptors basketball in his Australian accent. But yeah, it's really cool that he's coaching the summer league. He was somebody that we speculated. Remember, Monique, we were trying to figure out who's going to coach summer league. And I was like, Trevor Gleason hasn't coached it. So maybe he'll do it. And I think it's really cool that he's doing it because this is a man who has so much experience, like from Australia and stuff like that. And he's so bought in with the Raptors. I can tell. Like it's a joy for him to work with Nick Nurse. He's like Australian Nick Nurse. And it's so cool. Like, and I really do like what he said about Ron Harper Jr. Like, that's interesting. He's also talking about Koloko. He's saying that he was watching Koloko shoot threes and he likes what he sees. That's what straight from Trevor Gleason's mouth, talking about Christian Koloko and the practices so far in Las Vegas. That, yeah, he's shooting threes and they look good, is what he's saying. Ha ha. Raymond Jacob, please stop retracting your message and come on back and say something else to me. All right, Joseph Starks, once again, glad you're here. I'm sorry that my stream got messed up yesterday and that you guys had comments and stuff to say and stuff like that. If you want, we can still talk about the Summer League roster. Like I know some of y'all were talking about Abu Jagab, the Sudanese Canadian player, the 6'9", who has a really nice wingspan. He has some good shot and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm very intrigued by him also. He has an outside shot. Like on my rankings, he was right near DJ Wilson, just a little bit below him. He was higher than the other guys that are kind of no-name guys. And in the middle of my rankings, Abu. So very intrigued to see how he does on the summer league. That he fits our positionless scheme. So he has a bonus just in that he is the right size kind of player and stuff like that. So yeah, Joseph saying Indiana can make that offer on July 9th. Through the domino effect, that is our deadline to Kevin Durant decision, I presume. Cheers. Love your channel. Thanks, Joseph. I appreciate it. And thanks for subscribing and being here, man. Yeah, every single day, 9:30 a.m., always will be here. At least if I medically can. Hopefully, knock on wood, and I'm okay. I'll be here. But yeah, it is going to have a domino effect. That if Ayton is off the table, he's a big bargaining chip in this whole thing for Phoenix. And that Phoenix is only in this kind of partly because of Ayton. Like the other pieces they're offering, like Cam Johnson and different people like that, they're just not stacking up to something like what we can offer. And what Windhurst is saying, Brian Windhurst is saying that it's not the Raptors have to match what Brooklyn wants. They just have to beat the deal that Phoenix has. That Brooklyn just has to make a deal. And that they're going to have to take the best deal eventually. That it's like it's not going to be up to them. That they're going to just be up the creek, and they're going to say we're going to have to take the best deal. Now it's Toronto because Phoenix doesn't have Ayton anymore, or something like that. They just don't have the same kind of pieces to send back like we do. So I love what Brian Winder said, and he's like the only person on ESPN that has a brain right now, obviously, like because he's on point. He's like, dude, he's a god right now in the sports media talking heads world. This dude is a badass. And what he said is basically Toronto doesn't have to do jack shit, which is what we've been saying. And that as time goes on, the price will lower and Brooklyn will get more desperate. And they will accept our deal eventually. So it's like Bobby and Masai say, look, this is our deal. It's Gary and OG and the picks for Kevin. You take it or leave it. You don't want it? Okay, well, then we're not giving you anything better. And meanwhile, Phoenix, if their big chip goes straight to Indiana, that's a domino falling, and boom, it all changes the whole scenery, and it makes it real hard for Brooklyn. They have one less trading partner to figure it out that's easy, because none of it's easy. Like even with Phoenix, they'd have to do a 3-team deal. Same thing with Miami. With us, they can do a straight up Brooklyn to Toronto deal, just us and them. And that's the big difference in the advantage that the Raptors have in this Kevin Durant sweepstakes. is that we're the only team that they can deal with straight up one-on-one. The other teams have to have a third team involved in any deal that they do. So, oh man, we got them by the tail. We got our foot on their tail, and they're stuck. I'm telling you. Tom Duke saying Will Lou was on Locked On Raptors yesterday, and is pretty much all in for KD. Hot take. Well, listen, I can understand why people are all in on KD. We got to take this seriously, the gravity of it. But it's like also, it's like we don't have to do jack shit. So it's either way. I can respect Will Lou's take on trying to get KD. In fact, in some ways, I really do want to get KD still. In fact, partly it's just because I want to see the U.S. media's twist and turn under that feeling that, oh, the Raptors are real serious championship contender, and that they're going to hate that. That I'd love to just see them be all miserable, having to talk about the Raptors way more than they usually have to, because one of their marquee stars, one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA, is on the Toronto Raptors this season. So there's win-win pluses on both sides either way. I love this core that we have. I love to go forward with it. And in fact, I'm more in that camp at this point than having Durant. But if we get Durant, there's all kinds of great benefits also. So Rahul saying the former player, Raptors player Christian Vasquez predicted KD the Raps back in 2018. Well, people are predicting Kevin Durant to the Raptors since like the 2000s, before the 2010s. Like he always had an affinity for the Raptors. There's always been material out there where he's loved the Raptors because he did. And as a kid growing up in the Washington, D.C. area, he was a fan of Vince Carter's. He had Raptors jerseys. He was watching the Raptors, and that was his team when he was a kid. So it's like this is very much been set up and preordained for a long time if he does get here finally in his career. Raymond Jacobs saying Richard Jefferson putting dumbass Broussard in his place. Listen, Richard Jefferson did make that statement, but also listen, I'm trained to tell a liar. And the way that he was talking, the way he was looking, and the way he was acting, he's like he wasn't totally telling this wholeheartedly. Now I appreciate him standing up for Toronto in the city and saying that like no, he's never heard any player diss Toronto or anything like that. He called it a top 5 city in the NBA. Like he named his top 5 cities: New York, LA, Miami, Toronto, and Phoenix. And I still, this doesn't ingratiate Dick Jefferson to me. I'm sorry. He's just doing what he should be doing to show that he has a brain. Like it'd be funny if he doubled down with Chris Broussard on that side. You say, yeah, Toronto does suck and stuff like that. Like he would look really stupid. So I understand why he did it, but I still don't like him. And kudos to him. He gets 1 point for doing that. But whatever. It's like he's late to it too. Everybody else is doing it. It's kind of like he's in vogue with the times. It's like, oh, let's come down on Broussard for being an idiot, and like he just wants to get on it. Monique saying, just a reminder, Jeremy Lin and Simu charities in 2 days. Go support. All right. So Saturday, charity game, Jeremy Lin's charity game. Go and support it. Go check it out. I believe it is at Scotiabank Arena, but I could be wrong. It could be at another place here in Toronto. Monique, thanks for bringing that up. Seymour saying one contract that stands out is the 5-year, $251 million deal for Bradley Beal. The Beal contract consists of a no-trade clause. He is the only player in the league to have a true no-trade clause. Yeah, this is only like one of a handful in the history of the NBA. I think there's only been like 8 or 9 players that have ever had a clause like this in their deal. Well, good for him. I mean, listen, Bradley, what are you worried about? Like, are they really going to trade you at this point? I mean, you've been on this team forever. You look like a lifer. If they were going to trade you, they would have traded you a long time ago at different times. That's interesting that he really wanted that. But kudos to him. Good for him. And honestly, in some ways, Washington just wouldn't feel right if Bradley Beal wasn't on that team. And then if he was going to be like one of these other knuckleheads that's always shifting teams, chasing a championship, he might as well just stay the course. He's already just been Mr. Wizard. Mr. Wizard's World, stay in Mr. Wizard's World. Just stay there. And you know what? I will respect you more for doing that, even if you never win something. That you stayed true to your team and you stuck with them your whole career. Fantastic, Bradley Beal. Kudos to you. And he deserves a no-trade clause. Congratulations. I don't know why anybody would want a no-trade clause and they're playing for the Washington Wizards, though. That is just what I'll end on that with. But to each their own. It's Joseph Stark saying, Raymond, what did Jefferson do? Basically, Joseph, Richard Jefferson taped a statement about Toronto, just putting down Chris Bouchard's take the other day about Toronto not being good for black people, or that black people come here from the US, they won't enjoy being here because it's different, it's not America. And Richard Jefferson just kind of shut him down, just like everybody else has been doing. He's basically saying, from my experience, Toronto's a great city that is multicultural. There's everybody's there and they're happy and things are good and stuff like that. It was yesterday was the day he did it. It was a couple of days after Chris Bouchard said it. And it's also kind of like, yeah, okay, we get it. You're a little bit pandering towards Toronto Raptor fans, just in case Kevin Durant comes there. And we hate Richard Jefferson. Honestly, I hate him. I'm never gonna like him, but I will give him a point for doing that. G saying Beal's contract is now going to change deals in the league for the worse. I don't know about that, G. I kind of like no trade clauses. I think that the league has been worse since the 80s with all the movement. Like, part of the LeBron generation that pissed me off is all these big name players moved so easily. Like, the cool thing about the 80s NBA was that, you knew that each team had kind of a superstar, and they're kind of anchoring that team as being somewhat valid and good. You had a Rolando Blackman in Dallas. You had Alex English in Denver. You had Chris Mullin in Golden State. You had Bird in Boston. You had Karl Malone in Utah. Every team had a pretty good scorer and superstar. And what happened with this mobility of players within the league is super teams started getting created. And there were teams like the Miami Heat that had 3 huge superstars all of a sudden. And then we lose our franchise player, Chris Bosh. And I don't think that's good for the league, because you make the parity in the league worse. So if there's going to be more no trade clauses in contracts like Bradley Beal's going forward, I'm all for it, because I like the stability of players staying with teams. If they're happy and they want to trade, not a trade clause, and they want to stay there and have that security, I'm all for it. Like, if Scotty Barnes wanted a no trade clause with the Raptors, would you be upset? I wouldn't be upset if his next contract had a no trade clause in it and that he wanted to stay in Toronto no matter what. So I think it's a good direction, honestly. I don't think it's a bad direction. I think it's a good one. And only the very best and solid relationships would get this, because a player's not going to want to be stuck in a bad situation. They're going to know that what they're getting and be very happy in it and say, yeah, I'm doubling down. I'm put a double ring on my finger, put 2 rings on there. I'm engaged, baby, to the Washington Wizards. Raymond Jacobs saying at Joseph, there was a Reddit post that was linked to a TikTok from Jefferson. That's right. Yeah. It was just a little thing he filmed real quick. G saying, Seymour saying, why you say that? Yeah, I don't understand why he's saying that it's bad for the league. I don't necessarily agree with this. It's really up to the player. It's their option, and it could be better for the league in some ways. Monique saying Trevor Gleason is really pushing Justin Champagnie and David Johnson in the summer league. He should. He needs to. Listen, these guys, they got to show up. Like, part of what I was going to finish on yesterday, before I got cut off by YouTube all of a sudden, is that because there's only really one spot, if they cut Spee, then there's 2. This is super, super competitive. Now, I think Justin's got a good shot to make this year's team, but I don't think David Johnson's got a shot in hell. Like, it's too bad. It's just the way it goes. Like, if David Johnson can be on our 905 team and just not a part of the main roster, that'd be good, because that could end up being a path back to the main roster eventually. If he's just in the organization, he does good things in 905. We have some issues. We need to call players up. Boom. All of a sudden, he's playing on the Raptors again. But him being on the main Raptors, I don't think that's going to happen this year. The roster spots are so valuable for who we need to put them in with the personnel that we have so much of, that David Johnson's not going to make this team, I'm pretty sure. But Champagnie does still have a chance. Joseph saying, I've been saying Mark Bryant all week instead of Thomas Bryant all week. I have been too. Mark Bryant, he played for Portland 30 years ago? Man, Joseph, we're showing our age here. I was going through the cards yesterday, Monique, all my old basketball cards, and I got all my cards that I'm willing to trade with you. And I found all kinds of Mark Bryants in there and stuff like that. But I have 5 Sam Mitchell rookies, y'all. Monique, you want a Sam Mitchell rookie card? I got one for you. It's got your name all over it. And G, you're getting an extra special package. I have it all ready for you, the jersey, and I have some special goodies in the bag also with you. Now, I'm going to bring that item the jersey to the address that you gave me, and I'm not going to mail it. I'm just going to walk it over and leave it somewhere. So, G, if you have any special instructions about how I should leave it or where I should leave it, it's going to be in a Blue Jays bag, and it'll have your name written on it. But I don't want anybody to mess with it or take it or anything like that. I think I might walk over there today, later this afternoon, and just drop it on the front porch or near the mailbox of the dress that you gave me. Because that's great. I didn't even have to mail the prize for Raptor Freak Trivia. I'm gonna walk it over, and it's in my neighborhood, which is great. Let's see. G saying, I'm all for players having power, but with that, players can slack, sit out, and get paid, and not allow owners to do what is right for the team. Well, I think that in that case, if you're worried about that kind of stuff, it's the due diligence of both sides. Like the players got to figure out, is this a situation that I really like? And do I want to stay in and that I feel good about it? And then the team has to realize, is this a character guy? Is this a guy we know that won't quit on us, that won't give up? Because that's where you get to that point of you're saying, we're going to do a no trade clause in your contract. It really means that both sides are really sure about how they feel about each other and whether they're going to give a good effort or whether they're going to want to be out of their problem down the road and stuff like that. So it's that kind of thing. It's a special arrangement. I don't think it's going to be a very common thing in the league still, but we could see it a bit more, especially like, honestly, I would love to see Scotty sign one of these at some point. That would be so awesome. It would be so good. All right, let me keep going. Monique saying 2 more videos from 300. Congratulations. Wow, Monique, you're paying attention to that too. That's right. Guys, on Saturday, when we do this Saturday Share Love Club for Gary Trent Jr., that will be my 300th live stream in a row. For a whole year now, I've been going. That means almost a year. So when I get to 365, that means I've done a whole year exactly. But yeah, 300 episodes of the Raptor Freak live stream. Come celebrate with me on Saturday morning. 300 in a row days that I've been doing this. Oh my gosh, I'm crazy. So yeah, we'll do a Share the Love Club for Gary Trent Jr. and also a 300 episode thing. I appreciate Monique noticing that and understanding that that's coming up. Julia's saying OG is worth at least 2 or 3 first-round picks by himself. Trent worth a lottery pick also. I agree with this, Julian, and I appreciate you being here. Welcome. Yeah, because listen, the NBA in the U.S. undervalues OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. In fact, they want it. That's part of the whole scheme of trying to devalue our guys. And this is the thing. It doesn't really ultimately matter how they value them. It doesn't even matter how Brooklyn values them. It matters how we value them and how much Bobby and Messiah are willing to say no. And that we understand who OG Anunoby is, that he's a great defender, a two-way player, a guy who can guard any position on the court. And that he's also at the point in his career where he's just about to blossom even more. Like we've seen the signs last year, like in that New York game where he got over 30 points. Different points, OG has taken over and shown kind of like Pascal, kind of like I'm taking over and I'm the man tonight kind of tendencies. And that it could be OG's real close to busting open and being more consistently able to produce in that kind of level. And that is a real value in itself, that this guy's trending upward and we're about to see a real payoff area in his career. And that needs to be figured into any kind of trade for him going somewhere else. That not only is he going to do that, his contract is really fair and really good. Like we're paying him a good price. Same with Gary. So these are things that we value about him and them. And this is part of why we are saying no to Brooklyn, is that they may be trying to undercut us, undersell us because they think that they can do that. But we're like, no, we value OG and Gary a lot. And y'all need to understand that they're enough with a couple of picks for Kevin Durant, that you're not going to get Scotty. You're not going to get Pascal. You're not going to get Fred. You got to look at these 2 guys and the picks. And this is the best we're going to do for you. And that we're not going to budge. So just, you can sit and hold on to Kevin and we don't care and that kind of thing. So I agree, Julian. Like I'm so sick of them undervaluing our guys. And then on the flip, trying to get them for nothing. It's so messed up. It's so stupid. And Seymour's saying a good point about G saying that it may be bad for the league with no trade clauses. Well, we'll have to see. I think in the past it's been good, but there could be ugly situations that come about it when things go awry and things aren't so harmonious between a team and a player, and they have a no trade clause. Maybe they can have an option to waive the no trade clause if there are issues that things are too awful. That's what I'm saying. There may be clauses in Beal. He may have a no trade clause, but there may be a part in there that says we can waive the no trade clause at the player and the team's agreement, is what they could say. They could agree together. Well, you have no trade, but you know what? We're going to go ahead and waive it and cancel it, and we can trade you now. But that would have to be a kind of thing where they both agree to do it. That there probably is some sort of statement in there in Bradley Beal's contract that says that. All right, let's keep going. Joseph saying all of these teams in trade talks have at least 3 or 4 players being told that they are in trade talks. Toronto fans need to stop worrying about our players getting mad for being in trade talks. Yeah, it is just a part of the business and stuff like that. It could be way more destructive for teams like Miami and Phoenix than the Raptors. Like what I was trying to say, and not so eloquently earlier, is that Bobby and Masai have to really massage the relationships and keep the relationships healthy with these guys who are on the trade talks, who are in the middle of it. And that it's a good sign that Gary Trent Jr. is at OVO this week. Like he posted something on his IG a couple days ago of him and his friend shooting around in OVO. So he's in close and personal and in contact with our guys. It's not like he's in Minnesota and he's not talking to Bobby and Masai and keeping up with things. And that would be a little scary to me then. And that could be the case with some of the Phoenix guys. Like, who knows what some of their players that are getting in the rumors and stuff like that, how they're dealing with it. And part of the positive functionality of the Raptors is they downplay any kind of damage and keep damage control on these kind of issues and stuff. Our fan nation is going to be crazy, and they're going to say all kinds of crazy shit and infight and get mad at each other for like not agreeing on Kevin Durant and all this kind of stuff, regardless. And thankfully, a lot of the players do not see that noise or even care about it. They really don't. But yeah, they do see some of it. But yeah, I agree with this, Joseph. I think you're right on point that like we need to stop worrying in general about our players they're professionals. This is not the first time OG Anunoby's heard himself in trade talks and everything's been fine and they've just cruised through it. Like we just keep going with the same crew this year and nothing happens with the Kevin Durant thing. This is going to all be forgotten. This will be like some sort of weird week where we were in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes and everybody's stressed out and it was weird. But then like in November, Gary Trent and OG and Scotty can joke about, yeah, remember that week when they were trying to, that was so funny. And now everything's the way it is now. So it's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Players don't like it, but they still understand it's the business. It's the business side of it. It sucks. I know Fred VanVleet in particular hates this part of the NBA. He really does. And I'm sure Fred's been worried about him being possibly in a Kevin Durant trade. And that's no fun for him either. Uprooting his family and everything. And he just said in the press, like, this is kind of smacks of DeMar DeRozan kind of stuff. He said, I want to be a Raptor for life. And then boom, Masai trades him. I hate that kind of shit. I don't want to do Fred like that. Monique saying so much high praise from everyone surrounding Ron. Yeah. I mean, all right. I kind of said part of the take already. This dude has an NBA ready body. And like if Chet Holmgren, all right, first of all, I want to talk about what Scotty said on his Twitch yesterday. Scotty is very impressed with Chet Holmgren. He thinks he's a hooper, a baller, and he's all about him. He doesn't understand the hate like I have for him. He's like, listen, I don't understand why y'all hate him so much. It's like, yeah, sure, he's skinny, but there's something y'all need to know. This is straight from Scotty's mouth. That you can be real skinny, and if you can hoop, that's not a problem. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying, Scotty, and stuff like that. He said, people need to stop hating on him. He's like, why you hate him? Because he's cocky. And I tried to tell him, I was like, listen, he came out on draft night and he tried to say he's betting on himself, which to me is a trespass on the Fred VanVleet's trademark. That I'm like, listen, nah, dude, you can't come in here and show some dice around your neck and say, I bet on myself. I'm like, motherfucker, do you know who Fred VanVleet is? And I think he actually has that trademark, bet on yourself. So, that made me, he stepped in doo-doo with me as a Raptor fan right off the bat, that he started talking bet on yourself kind of crap. Now, the cocky stuff is annoying too. Yeah, that bugs me and stuff like that. He's trying to come in and say, yeah, I'm going to be one of the best players in the league right away and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, let's see. Now, the first night he looked like it offensively, but last night, I'm going to tell you what, some of what I'm worried about him being any good about is what happened last night. Kenny Lofton Jr., who is nothing like his father. Holy crap. Kenny Lofton Sr. was an outfielder in the MLB who was really lithe and quick and could run and like really fast. Great defensive center fielder. And his son is anything like him. Like he's a big, chunky Charles Barkley looking basketball player for the Grizzlies. And I love that John Morant was like recognizing him on Twitter last night. He said, Kenny Lofton, because he took Chet to school. He backed him right down. He showed exactly the weakness for Chet Holmgren. So Scotty's a big Chet Holmgren fan, and he says, "Listen, y'all need to stop hating on him." So I'm gonna kind of listen to Big Roy and lay off of Chet for a little while, just because partly because my stream gets interrupted when I diss him, but also because Big Roy has asked me to. So that's what he's saying. And also another thing that came of this conversation was really cool and interesting to hear Scotty say was he doesn't like cocky people. He said, normally I don't like people like Chet that talk like he does. Like he's not about that kind of stuff on his team. He doesn't like guys who are overly cocky. He said, if you're cocky around me, you're not on my squad. You're not with me, is what Scotty's saying. So, but he thinks that Chet can back it up. And that's part of the reason why he says it's all right what Chet's doing, because he can back it up. So it was really, really interesting to hear Scotty's thoughts on Chet Holmgren and what's happening with him right now and different things like that. So, all right, let's keep going. But yeah, Ron Harper, once again, I think that in the opposite of Chet Holmgren, not having the physicality, Ron Harper does have the physicality for the NBA. And that's going to be very fun to see on Saturday when they start playing Summer League, the first game against Philadelphia on Saturday. It'll be real fun to see Ron Harper Jr. throw his weight around and really, I want to see if he can do this where he can score, like he finds his shots through physicality. Because most young rookies or guys coming in the league don't find their game through physicality right away. But I feel like he's special and that his game to be successful is predicated on being physical. And that he's going to be putting his body into people just like Kenny Lofton Jr. did last night and bullying his way to the basket and making points that way. That is the way he scored in Rutgers. And that is the way I expect him to try and come into Summer League and start doing some stuff. And maybe Trevor Gleason's already seen it in practice and he's excited to show it to the world. So I love it. I love it, Monique. And Ron Harper Jr., like I said, I have a strong feeling about him. Rahul's saying Earl Watson is going to have positive impact on the development of Scotty, OG, Gary, and Pascal. Yeah, he already has huge impact on Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam the last couple of years worked with Earl Watson before he was even on our coaching staff. That he's part of the reason why he's on our coaching staff is because he's been privately working with Pascal in the summertime. And that Earl just came partly because of his friendship and working with him. So he's been helping him. Now, Earl helping people like Gary and Scotty and OG, that's very, very intriguing and fun. Because the thing about Earl Watson's mind is he's a very offensive-minded coach. That he really looks at like the way guys move and their footwork and the way that they dissect the defense and take it apart. That Earl Watson, that's what he's looking at. Like a lot of times is he's saying like, listen, Pascal, if you do this, you can be unstoppable. Like you just get this point to this spot on the court and then you're able to just move or spin, boom, nobody's gonna be able to stop you. So that's the kind of coaching that Earl Watson's giving to Pascal Siakam and has been. And we've seen the improvement of Pascal in the last couple of years to the all-NBA level. That is the kind of education and instruction that he can give to a guy like Scotty Barnes. Boom, look out. Sky's the limit. G saying Norman Powell called out Chris Bouchard and said he missed Canada. Rondé Hollis Jefferson, Chuck Swirsky, name all the list of all the people that are coming down on him. He's an idiot. Like, honestly, Chris Bouchard, I don't think he's ever been to Canada. I've kind of said on a stream this week, I think he might have gotten a felony in the U.S. and he's not allowed to come here. Did you guys know that? That if you have a felony arrest in the United States, you are not allowed to enter Canada. You cannot come to Canada if you have a felony. My friend in Florida can't come see me because of that. So that is what it is. All right, I want to get this right. Joseph Starks has a pronunciation guide for me for Kajab. Okay, it's Abu Kijab. Okay, thank you, Joseph Starks. This is information sharing. This is the think tank. We need to all be on the same page. If I'm doing something wrong, correct me. I'm not above reproach for any kind of corrections because seriously, I want to get it right. And I know I'm not always perfect. I do try and get it right though. Abu Kijab. All right, Abu Kijab. All right, I'm going to say that right from now on. Abu Kijab. Raps Love, good to see you again. This is a business. If it's not friendship, players know it's a business. Believe me, there are $20 million contracts help them sleep at night. That's right. That's right. We see Patrick Beverly. He just got sent to Utah, and he was so expressive of love for Minnesota and stuff like that. Beverly has a streak of being in the playoffs every year. I don't know if he's going to get that streak this year, but he's saying, don't be worried about me. And then he has a picture of him with a briefcase full of stacks of money in it. And he's like, yeah, you don't be worried about me. I'm going to be fine. Even though I'm leaving a team that I just showed so much love to and went crazy when they won a play-in game. And now I'm getting shipped to Utah all of a sudden. Yeah, he said he's going to be fine. And I think that signifies exactly what Raps Love is saying right here, is that the money makes it all the pain go away. Oh, yeah. Monique saying Raptors today is officially back, Lex. Oh, that's good. All right. I'm happy about that. I want to see some Randy Irving with Leo Routens and some witty banner and kind of putting each other down in different ways. I love it. Raps Love is saying it's the NBA. It's not high school. Don't worry about offending people. They're adults on contracts. This is what happens. Well, listen, I agree with you, but we have to also realize that the NBA is a varied cast of different maturity levels. That some guys are like Fred VanVleet. They're just mature and wise at a young age, and they're fine all the way. And then some guys are idiots. Like they can be in their late 20s, and they're still doing stupid shit, like Montrezl Harrell. So we got to realize there are different levels of this, and the Raptors in some ways safeguard themselves from these kind of problems because we get character guys, we get smart guys, we get intelligent guys that understand this is a business. But other teams could do this, and they could have toxic fractures in their franchise and on their roster because players are unhappy because they were kind of on the trading block. This is a classic case in all sports where you can piss a player off by kind of shopping them. So it really is being respectful and different things like that. I totally agree with Raps Love. It's a business. The players know they're big boys. They understand what it's all about, stuff like that. But also at the same time, you got to understand Scotty Barnes is 20 years old. This is his first team. And you don't want to hurt a young guy like that. Like the way I saw Kevin Herter got traded by Atlanta this week. And he looked so broken and sad about the trade and leaving Atlanta, that he had been there for 4 years and that he wasn't expecting it. And that he was like, wow, this is the NBA and it is a business. So there are still after effects. And that depending on where a guy is in his career, he could be a vet and really understand it. Or he could be somebody who's young like Scotty, and it could be really like upsetting and sad and hurtful and stuff like that. So it's not so cut and dry to just say they're all grown up and professional about it and know how to handle it, because some of them may not. Let's just be honest here. Seymour saying Earl is another great piece of this organization. Can't wait for the season to get started. We're looking good. Yes, Seymour. We are looking so good right now. Honestly, we look so good. We got to look in the mirror. We look like Scotty Barnes at the Global Jam last night. That's how good we're looking right now, Mr. Scooter Barnes. Raps Love is saying Kevin Durant is not thinking about messing up the Toronto Raptors. Believe me, that's a little far-fetched. Well, listen, I will say this. In today's world and society, there are a lot of nefarious forces out there that are manipulating belief and information and the news and things like that for their own benefit. That there are people that are out there that have really diabolical schemes, like a villain on a Saturday morning cartoon like Lex Luthor would out there. And I'm not saying that Kevin's smart enough to figure this out. That, he could be like, I'm going to stay with you guys all along, Brooklyn, but I'm going to cause some mischief. I'm going to cause some waves in the league by saying I want to trade out, and let's just see what the rest of the league does. That chaos, Captain Chaos, South Park, he just wants to cause some chaos, and that he wants to see what happens. Like Kevin's got a troll kind of like mentality. You got to remember this. And that, this could be something like there's new ownership in Brooklyn with Joe Tsai, and it may be that they're calculating this, that look, Raptors have been very strong as an organization for years, and they're healthy, not toxic. Let's see if we can stir some toxicity up in there. And I may be connecting too many dots, and that you're right that this is not what's happening. It's just what it is. But there are some weird side effects to this that are causing a little bit of ripple effect. I think we'll be fine either way. Like I think Gary Trent Jr. and OG are going to be fine either way, but they are a little worried about having to pack up and go to Brooklyn all of a sudden. I'm sure they are. It's a realistic, real like thing that could happen. So, yeah, I know that sounds far fetched, but why is it? He's been in the league for so long, and he understands how it works, and he understands the way that you can mess up teams, and maybe that's part of it. Brooklyn doesn't understand the offers are going to get lower and lower and lower. That's right. That's right. And Raps Love is right. The offers aren't going to get better. If anything, they're going to get worse as they get more desperate because they're the team that is desperate out of everybody. They can try and say they have the power and stuff like that, but they don't. They are desperate out of everybody involved. We're not desperate. Phoenix is kind of desperate just because of Ayton and getting him resolved. And Miami's not desperate. They don't have to do anything. They're just doing what they're doing too. So uh, Dick Jefferson is finally saying good things about us. Monique, I know, just once, just one time. Raps Love saying, yeah, Richard Jefferson's his speech was outstanding. Yeah, there were a couple of tells though that he was kind of like saying it half-heartedly from when I watched it. Jesse Potts, good to see another new name here every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. KD is a bad idea unless Masai gives up very little. I'm with you on this. If we can do that one deal that I said earlier, if it's just those two players and some draft picks, that's fine. We can do this and we can make it work. Let's see. Joseph saying, I got to see this Jefferson take. I can't wait. Yeah, check it out. It's not that incredible. I mean, he is defending Toronto, though, which is really weird in a way, I guess. Jesse saying, Katie is a track star on a bus, not a bus driver to the track meet. I love that analogy. I don't totally understand it. He's a track star on a bus, not a bus driver to the track meet. Oh, damn. Okay, I get it. So he's riding on the bus. He's not deciding how it's going or driving the bus. The bus is being driven by Bobby Webster, is what Jesse Potts is saying. He's going to request a trade in a year. Yeah, if he doesn't get traded this offseason, he could be getting traded midseason. Somebody said earlier in the stream that he could get traded to Miami midseason at some point or something like that. I don't know. We're going to just have to see how it all plays out. Good morning to Sue. Always happy to see Sue. Monique saying hi and Sue saying hi back. So happy you're here, Sue. Catch up and talk about Kevin Durant and not talk about Kevin Durant, both at the same time. G saying no trade clause allows players to veto trades to certain teams. This kills all leverage for the teams they are on and gives leverage to the teams they want. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure that there are negative sides to this as far as for the team. If they have a big part of their salary cap that they can't move, that it's just not movable because of no trade clause, that's once again something that a team has to realize before they sign on the dotted line. That it has to be something really set in stone that they really, really want because they're locked in and stuff like that. See, this is the thing. It's like we're a team that should do no trade clauses, honestly, here in Toronto, because we got that kind of continuity and we're not shuffling the deck so often like New York Knicks or something like that. That, teams that are really in flux and constantly bringing in new players and getting rid of players and stuff like that. Sure, a no trade clause contract on their salary is very, very much a hindrance. But not for a team that's kind of building and keeps building and isn't like destroying and sending guys away constantly and bringing new guys in at the same time. So it really is the kind of thing. It's like any contract. You got to look at all the fine print and say, is this something we want to agree to and that we're fine with? So I love the Bradley Beal no trade clause. I think that it's fantastic and he deserves it. And Washington obviously loves him and wants to do that. So if we do that with Scotty Barnes, I'll be so happy. Come on. You wouldn't be happy if we had Scotty Barnes on a no trade clause contract. I think he'd be happy. And I think Masai would be happy too. Monique saying, guys, MLSC is doing auctions for the national anthem for this season. Do you have what it takes? Monique, I saw this ad yesterday and I seriously am considering auditioning for MLSC to sing the anthems at the games. Like, I wondered these past seasons, why are these ordinary people getting up there and singing the anthem? Some of them are not that great. They're not all Doug Tranquada. Now I know why. It's because you can be an ordinary citizen and try out and get in there. So I'm thinking about sending in a tape. Why not? Oh, Canada, our home and native land. I can do Drug Tranquada. I could do it just like him. And I get up there and do it like with Raptor Freak would do it. So I'm thinking about doing this. But yeah, all y'all too. If you guys have pipes and you can sing, go ahead and cut together a little video of you doing the US and Canadian anthems and send it to MLSE, because you could end up being singing the anthem at the Raptors game this season. That they have an open call till July the 27th for this. And I think it's like MLSE auditions is like the email or something you send it to. So if any of y'all got a golden voice, a golden, go ahead and send it in. I think I might. Why not? You guys see me singing the anthem at the Raptor game. That'd be hilarious, wouldn't it? Oh my gosh, Suzanne, I know there was some confusion about Otto Porter Jr. wife being from Toronto, but he confirmed it yesterday in presser. Yeah, the confusion is this, Sue, is that, all right, I did research on this, and he was dating a girl named Jacqueline Humphrey, and she's from Ohio. That there's all this social media of her. She's blonde and him together, but she's not from Canada. Like, I don't understand the linkage to her to Toronto. Like, I don't see anything on her because she's an Instagram model and she's got a lot of information out there. But I don't think it's the same woman. I think that he broke up with this Jacqueline girl and he married somebody different, is what it is. I'm trying to figure out the mystery because she's not Canadian. And she's the one who's publicly all over the internet with him as a relationship. She's from Ohio. She's American. So I don't get this mystery. I don't. It's not that I don't believe his wife is from Toronto. It's just that I think he might have broke up with the one that's publicly all over the internet, and he's with a new woman that maybe is not publicly known that is from Toronto. Or maybe Jacqueline Humphrey is from Toronto somehow, but on her files, everything says she's from Ohio. So I don't know. That's the confusion I have about it, Sue. So find out the mystery of Jacqueline Humphrey, and there we'll figure it out. It may be that she's his ex and he married somebody different. All right, let's see. G saying, for instance, if KD had the clause, only Miami and Suns could trade for him. Toronto and other teams wouldn't have a chance, and Nets would be stuck with the worst trade from my understanding. Well, the no trade clause isn't that. And seriously, there are people that have clauses where they can and can't be traded already in their contract. And that's what you're talking about. No trade clause means he can't be traded at all, even the teams that he wants to be traded to, unless he breaks that clause. Now, I understand what you're worried about. You're worried about players hamstringing teams from allowing them. Well, in this specific situation, I don't think Kevin would make that direction, say, you can't trade me to Toronto. So let's be realistic here. Like, in this situation, he wouldn't tell them that because Toronto is attractive to him, stuff like that. So that specific situation isn't good for this example. But I could see where you're saying, but really, like, once again, like anything, you have a lawyer, you have to read the fine print, you have to see what the contract is exactly and understand all the ramifications to it. And obviously, Washington and Bradley like what it is, and they've agreed to it. So it's a case by case basis and stuff like that. So, and it may not be very common. I don't think these no trade clauses contracts are going to be very common still. It's just that we got another one in the league right now. So, Suzanne agreed. If they're asking no trade clause, then they want to stay put. It's a W. Yeah, that's like if Scotty wanted a no trade clause with Toronto, we would be all about it, and let's do it. Monique's saying, absolutely, Lex. The only thing I don't have the plastic over it. That's awesome of you. The plastic over it. What are you talking about? I'm confused about what you're saying, but that's okay. We'll keep moving, Monique. All right, Raymond Jacobs saying 365 episodes, 1 year celebration, party at Tom's house. Yeah, that's right. Well, you got to fly us all out to your house, Tom, and we'll have breakfast. And then a lot of mimosas from what I remember. Sue's saying, woo woo, to almost a year. Thanks, Lex. It's a big commitment from you, and we appreciate you. Yeah, and thank you, Sue, for being like pretty much from the very beginning. I started in September last year, so it'll be 1 year in September. And yeah, it'll be really fun. 300 on Saturday. My cards are new, but I do have old ones. Oh, you're talking about cards. Yeah, well, listen, that's the great thing is I want more new cards. So, if we're going to trade basketball cards, I got a whole bunch of cards from 1990 that are 30 years old that you would love to see. Like I said, I have Sam Mitchell rookie cards from Minnesota Timberwolves, like sitting in front of me. I have like Drazen Petrovic rookie cards and stuff like that. So it's like I've got some old stuff that you would really enjoy. In fact, I think I might have the first ever Raptors trading card ever made that was made in 1995. It doesn't even have any players or anything. It just says on it the Toronto was awarded an NBA franchise, and it has the Raptors logo on it. That may be the first ever Raptors card ever made. I'm like looking through my cards. I'm like, holy crap! I didn't remember I have all this and this kind of stuff. It's crazy. Joe Stark saying 365 days a year, 52 weeks a year. You work 5 days a week. Congratulations, dude. I worked 7 days a week. Listen, I'm doing this every day. I'm doing it Saturday and Sunday morning too. Like, so there's no days off. Like, listen, this has been kind of a full-time job in some ways. I have my afternoon stuff, but I have my morning stuff with you guys, and I love it. I love it. I'm gonna keep going. And listen, it's crazy too, Joe Starks. Like around the playoffs, when we were playing in Philadelphia, these streams would be like 4 to 5 hours long. Like we'd be in here talking about every little thing about the playoffs and stuff. Like you can go look in my archive. There's some streams where we talked for like 5 hours almost. Insane marathon streams. It's crazy. But I appreciate that, Joe. And I'm glad you found us here, man. And I hope you keep coming back. Sue saying Raps are not desperate. We don't need to trade for KD. We're in good position. Yep. And Monique saying right on. Yeah, 7 days a week. That's right. 7 days a week. 300 on Saturday, guys. That's right. It'll be my 300th episode on Saturday. All right, Tom Duke's got a rebus. He's got a tumbler tumbling. He's got 300 equals firecracker, firework. That looks like a Larry O'Brien. That looks like a gold medal. That looks like a present. That looks like some streamers and some noisemakers, a balloon, some cash money, money flying, and money man, and right on. I love it, Tom Duke. Thank you for gracing us with your rebus language of your rebus people. We appreciate it. Seymour saying Chet is better than Porzingis. He is a baby KD. Trust me, it just sucks. He has to play 5. All right. Yeah, he could be. His offensive skills look amazing. But he's going to be a detriment on the defensive end. He is. He just is going to be. Like, they're going to have to hide him in different weird ways. And then the other factor of it is the physicality of the NBA game when he's going to take beatings. Like, he's going to get hit a lot. And I'm just wondering, not that I want him to be injury prone. I'm just wondering how often he's going to be getting injured. Because that is the thing over time with Porzingis that kind of has hurt his career is that he's kind of one of these guys that's half hurt half the time. And I'm just wondering if Chet's body and the way he is going to be similar. Like there's an assistant coach that said at the summer league this week, this like looking at Chet Holmgren and you look at Poku, Alexei Poku, that he looks like he has thick legs compared to Chet Holmgren is what he's saying. And that this assistant coach doesn't think Chet Holmgren is going to be a serviceable NBA career because of these detriments on his defensive end. That, like, listen, he's great offensively and he looks like really cool stuff and does cool things. But in some ways, there's a lot of sizzle and not enough steak, is what I'll put it. That in some ways, the NBA is a steak league where you need to be a grinder, somebody who works real hard, who can take the punishment and can play night in and night out against big guys, bigger than him. And the way that Lofton Jr. pushed him around last night, he is easy to push around. In fact, he looked like he may be easier to score on than Aaron Baines. So that's the kind of thing I'm worried about Seymour. His offensive skills, I won't deny them. They look amazing. But listen, the Raptors covet two-way players. And in fact, Ron Harper Jr. looks like a really badass two-way player. And I don't know if Chet Holmgren's a two-way player. Sure, he can have roving shot blocking, but he could be like Chris Boucher in his first couple of years on defense. Real easy to get around and score on and stuff like that. So it'll be very interesting to see how he develops and stuff like that. And he could, and I think you might be right as far as he's going to end up being better than Porzingis and maybe more contributing in that way. But also, I'm really worried about the injury risk for him. Click saying Kenny Lofton needs to lose weight. I don't know if he needs to lose weight. I liked how dumpy he was. Like listen, he looked cool. And like it's weird because he's another one of these juniors that didn't get drafted. Scottie Pippen Jr., Ron Harper Jr., Kenny Lofton Jr., and they all look pretty good. Like Scottie Pippen Jr. even looked pretty good. Not Bronny, Sharif O'Neal's looking pretty good out there. So it's like this younger generation of players is very interesting. It's coming up. Really interesting. Kenny Lofton Jr. is nothing like Kenny Lofton Sr. though. Seymour saying, I think Shaden will win Rookie of the Year if Portland uses him right. It's all about whose team gives him a chance to shine. Yeah, that's proven with our big Roy here in Toronto. We put a spotlight on him. He's on a good playoff team. He's contributing in a major way. Yeah, it's really going to be the team that does the best with all these young players. I still think it's Jaden Ivey with Detroit. That's who I think is going to win Rookie of the Year because I think Detroit's going to make a leap and a bound this year and be a real playoff team this year. That they're the team that we should be worried about. We're already worried about them in Toronto, but we're going to be even more worried about them this year. Shaden Sharp, that's going to depend on how well Portland does. Is Portland going to be having it together this year and be a real competitive team, or are they going to be kind of middling and stuff like that? It'll be interesting. Rank Scrub, good to see you. Saw you in the Scotty Twitch. Good to see you here. Chet just looks like he has break points in his forearms and wrist areas. His legs aren't exactly tree trunks like, and he doesn't dip from his knees that often. Yeah, and I even seen like that one play he made in the game that he looked really good. He rolled onto the ground. He just looks too willowy. Like I don't have any confidence in him to be able to hold his ground. Like this is a great place for me to argue for why Khem Birch is so awesome. Is because Khem Birch is the opposite of Chet Holmgren. This man will hold his ground. It's like if somebody's trying to bust down your door, the cops are throwing that ram into your doorway, and you can hold that door up against them. That's what I'm saying. Chet Holmgren's not going to be able to hold anybody. And Khem Birch can hold people. That's why I love Khem Birch so much. We don't know if Koloko can hold anybody yet either. So we got to wait till Koloko can actually hold people down low on the block because Chet Holmgren can't, but Khem Birch can. So there's a big difference right there. Joe Starks is saying at Raymond, true. So he's got 40 streams on overtime. Pay this man. Appreciate you guys. I appreciate the love. Patrick Douglas is saying we have total faith in the leadership of the Toronto Raptors. Period. Yes, Patrick. Speak the gospel of the Raptor Freak cult. Trust in Messiah. Trust in Bobby. Trust that they are at the Global Jam and they're looking over at SGA and licking their lips. SGA, you like Toronto? Yeah, we brought the big Roy to the game and he's here as a Tiger. Yes, he's a badass. There's other stuff that Scotty was talking about yesterday. Rank Scrub and Shane Waters and Sonny. You guys were all there yesterday. Man, Scotty's so outspoken on there. One of the things he said was he was really upset with the people that clipped the part of him playing the video game where he's talking to the NBC and trying to date the girl. Like, yo, you want to Netflix and chill and stuff like he said straight up, he's like, y'all, I got to be honest. I'm kind of mad at y'all for clipping that spot where I was trying to pick up the NPC character in the video game. Like, y'all, you kind of like put me out there embarrassingly, and I don't like that. It's like, that's what he was saying yesterday. But then he turned around and he said, I really did like the boat clip, though. The boat clip's hilarious. And yeah, that was right. And I'm glad you did that. And I was like, yeah, it was so cold how they left you behind on Friday the 13th and let you get slaughtered. And they took off from the dock and you're standing right there. And he's like, man, it was so awful. It's crazy because seriously, there's so many people chatting in there, but he does read my comments like quite often. Like we're talking about favorite flavors of Gatorade yesterday. And he's like, oh, I'm all about purple Gatorade. And once again, he's saying Gatorade, Powerade, whoever wants to give me a bag, I'm here, I'm ready. So he's like, Lay's potato chips and Gatorade, y'all need to go talk to Scotty Barnes and get him involved in your ad campaigns because the man wants a bag from an advertiser and he's just dying to push some products. I'm gonna tell you right now. But he was talking about Gatorade flavors he likes. And I was like, my favorite's blue. And he said, oh yeah, blue. I love blue too. Purple and blue. Those are my favorites is like what he was saying. It was awesome. But it's so fun. We were talking about poutine too, because listen, Scotty's getting on a plane today. Actually, Masai and Bobby are probably going with them. They're probably all going together in the same jet. And they're going to Vegas today. and they're going to be there for the games and be there in summer league. And I know part of it is that the older players that are on the team already like to come and watch the younger players, support them. But I think also in the practices, what happens is that the players that are on the team already come and practice with them a little bit and mix it up with the summer league guys a bit. So I could see that happening. This guy's going there maybe to practice privately with the summer league guys, but he won't be playing in the summer league himself. It was so funny when we were with him when he saw the summer league roster on Monday. Like they announced the summer league roster, and we're on Twitch with him, and he's like, "Oh, the summer league roster's up," and he's like goes and he pulls it up and he starts looking at it. He's reading the names like Christian Coloco, he's gonna be good. He's like Ron Harper Jr., yeah, and he's like, "Wait, my name's not on here." He's like, he got all a surprise and like, "Wait, I'm not on here." He's like, and then people are starting to say, "You didn't make summer league, Scotty." He's like, "Oh man, oh shucks." He's kind of like acting like he was upset, but it was kind of funny, really funny. But they're getting on a jet. They're flying to Vegas. He said he's gonna be in Vegas for about a week. And one of the things he's going to be doing in Vegas is he's going to be on TV a lot. Like they're going to use him like they did for the finals when he went there and was interviewing players during the finals with Boston Golden State. So Scotty's going to be doing TV work while he's there. And he said he's going to be a little camera shy. He's got to get over it. And he's got to get used to being on camera more. And then when he's done, like his buddies are asking him, "When are you coming back to Miami? We want to hang out. When are you coming to Palm Beach where we miss you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm not coming back for a while." He's like, "I'm going to go to Vegas for a week. And then when I come back from Vegas, I'm going straight to Montreal, y'all." Because he does really want to go to Montreal. He didn't go on Monday. He's like, but his handler, Nick, he's going to get him the tickets and they're going to go to Montreal and they're going to have a party time in Montreal. That's what he wants to do after Vegas. Is he wants to go to Montreal and see the city and check it out. And he's asking the people in the Twitch to tell him about Montreal and the cool things to go do in Montreal and stuff like that. I mean, we're telling him, why don't you just ask Chris? Go and ask Chris Boucher. He knows what to do in Montreal. You need to just get hooked up with Chris and he'll tell you what to do. But he's like, "I'm going to try poutine when I go there." So he's such a kid and he's so fun. Like, oh man. And I love knowing what he's up to and what's coming up next for him and what he wants to do and stuff. I'm telling you, y'all, I really feel like I know him personally, like his personality, just from sitting in a Twitch stream with him for like 60 hours this summer. Like that's a lot of time accrued spending time with somebody. You get to know them just from hearing them talk and how they react to things and things like that and stuff like that. So really awesome. Yeah, and Monique's saying, "Thanks for sending me Chris's Twitch." Y'all, seriously, go follow Chris, Scotty, and Delano on Twitch. And when they're on Twitch, watch them. They're hilarious. And you really get to know them in a personal way. It's crazy. Joseph Stark saying, "Ironically, Katie is probably the same weight as Chet." Hilarious. Listen, Chet really ingratiated himself with KD. He wore his shoes. He's wearing his shoes. And KD said, "I see you, Chet, wearing the KD shoes and number 7 and stuff like that." And yeah, it is interesting that his weight. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Chet too much because I might lose my stream if I talk about him too much. That's what's been happening. Raymond's saying, "Yeah, got to give him the most committed award. Raptor freak for real." I appreciate that, man. Seriously, like, listen, this has been a long odyssey for me. I'm not a Johnny come lately. I had a email. The first email I ever had as when the internet started in the 90s was raptorsfreak@aol.com. So I was using the Raptor Freak name in 1995, y'all. So this is not a new branding or anything new. This has been Raptors Freak since the very beginning. Jamie Stoudemire, Willie Anderson, Alvin Robertson, Jean Tabak, Oliver Miller, Ed Pickney, John Sally, Raptor Freak right here. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see. Rank Scrub saying Chet is very similar to old man KD as a prospect. Did you guys see that one clip of him shooting the Dirk shot and it like mirroring with Dirk's shot? Like that was scary. Just how similar his mannerisms and the way they moved his body was to that Dirk shot. Like, it was like Dirk. He looked exactly like the same exact moves as Dirk Nowitzki with that one hopper. That famous Dirk shot. Quick saying, Scotty made me really appreciate him yesterday. He was talking about how people need to be humble and can't take those opportunities for granted. Low key throwing shade at Ben Simmons. Yeah. Click. Honestly, he's such a well-adjusted young man and stuff like that. Like, One of the things Scotty said a few streams ago that was really interesting to me was he was talking about, I think they were talking about some sort of hip hop artist or rapper who was in jail. And a lot of people are saying, free him, free him. Well, Scotty said this. He's like, some of y'all need to stop trying to get people freed that need to be in jail for what they did, is what Scotty said. So he has a real sense of right and wrong and like a good head on his shoulders. Like, listen, this kid is really, like I said, well adjusted. He has been raised right, which is amazing considering the things I've heard about how tumultuous and chaotic his early childhood was and stuff like that. That like in his formative years, I guess when he got to be like around like a preteen or something like that, he was showing signs of being a great basketball player. People came into his life and helped guide him and mold him into being such a great young man. And I appreciate them so much because it wasn't his father. I'm going to tell you that right now. And his mother, I'm not sure. I think his mom has been a big part of it for sure, but he's also, there's some signs that show that like Scotty is really at this point as a 20-year-old, the way he's staying in Toronto and the way he's kind of attached himself to the Raptors franchise is showing that he really is like I said, he's thirsted for a family connection, a family kind of feeling in some ways that he may not have been getting completely. So I'm really excited and happy about him and the young man that he is, and him being a part of the Raptors because it's just been a dream so far. He's been a dream number 4 pick, and I think he continue to be this. But yeah, Click, isn't he amazing? Like he really went off about cocky people yesterday. He's like, you know what? I really don't like cocky people. If you're cocky, I kick you out of my squad. I don't want you around me if you're overly cocky for no reason. So. Rahul's saying Earl Watson was the one who found something in Devin Booker in his first season and started him. Yeah, Earl Watson was the coach of the Suns at that time and was the one who kind of started Devin Booker's career to being where it is at this point. Click saying Scotty said he can't imagine not playing ball for a year over a stupid petty thing. Yeah, it's so dumb. Like I wouldn't want to sit out like that. I'd be chomping at the bit and stuff like that. That's the thing. Like it's hard for him. People were trying to invite him to go play pickup in Toronto yesterday. Some guy's saying, "Come play me in pickup in Pickering." He wants them to come to Pickering and play basketball with him. And like none of these people understand. Like, yeah, that may have been what Scotty used to do when he was younger. He was all about playing at LA Fitness. He's talked about this extensively on the streams. The place where Scotty grew up and became a man as a basketball player was at LA Fitness in Palm Beach. That he was a frequent person there and he was playing against men. He would be there as a teenager, like as a 14-year-old, whatever age, and he'd be in there playing against grown men. And that is part of the reason why he's so good at such a young age is that he cut his teeth in LA Fitness with some really good talent there. Like he gives so much credit to playing pickup games at LA Fitness in West Palm Beach. So he loves playing pickup games. Like he would go and play in summer league tomorrow if they wanted him to. He wouldn't be above it. He honestly, I think he would want the reps and just the time because he just loves playing ball. And that in some ways, it hurts him to say to a fan, "Is like, no, I can't come play Pickering pickup basketball with you," because he would love to go play street ball with random people on the street. But you can't do that as an NBA commodity, as a player that has heavily invested in millions of dollars and the liability issues. You just cannot show up and just play like Bo Cruz and hustle some people on the court. So that's what people got to realize is like just because he's accessible on his Twitch doesn't mean he's going to come down the street and play basketball with you. Stuff like that, even though he probably would want to because he's very eager and all about playing basketball all the time. Like that's part of the reason why he's always playing 2K. Like it's crazy. Yesterday they did a poll and they were like 2K came in last. I'm like, come on, man. The man wants to play basketball because he lives and breathes basketball all the time. If he's not OVO playing, if he's not doing Raptors related stuff, he's at Global Jam watching basketball. Or he's at home playing 2K. He's always doing something basketball. It doesn't matter. It's the off season. It's crazy. It's so good. Let's see. Monique saying Watson seems like he doesn't take no BS, but quickly. Watson. Oh yeah, Earl. Yeah, definitely. He's a real one. You could just tell. Like he's a pro. He played in the league. He knows a lot of stuff about the league from his playing career, and then he's just like he's an insider. Like he's cool. Like he knows his stuff. He's a basketball mind. And that's part of the brain trust for Nick Nurse on his coaching staff. Earl Watson's basketball mind is good to have for offensive scheming and stuff. And you couple him in with Trevor Gleason and his flex offense and stuff like that. That's part of the reason why the Raptors offense is going to change from last year, even more so, is that they're going to get more smarter with how they do the flex and that crisscross and just recognizing who the open guy is. And like Trevor was talking about yesterday, it's like the next action, next pass, next open guy philosophy that they play under him with his offensive schemes from Australia and stuff like that. That was a big part of what they were doing last year, was the flex offense and the next pass, and always looking for the next open shooter instead of just taking a shot. If you got a even better shot the next pass, they want you to pass it. They don't want you to shoot it. So that's part of the reason why the Raptors were so unselfish last year. It was annoying. There were some times where I wish they'd just taken that shot before the extra pass. But Sue's saying, if you have been nabbed from drinking and driving, you're not allowed in Canada from the U.S., but can from Canada to U.S. for same offense. Yeah. Yeah, we have really strict rules up here. Like, I listen to Jim Cornette's wrestling podcast, and this is the hardest country to get into, to travel to. There's a lot of issues with people trying to get into Canada, that we're really strict at our border. In fact, this may be the way the U.S. should be with their border in certain ways too. But yeah, you cannot get into the Canada if you are a problem person in the U.S. They will not let you in. You'll get a red flag, and they won't let you in. Let's see. Humble, confident, humble, beautiful thing. Emily McCormick. Hello, Emily. I love that you actually, Scotty would really love your handle here, because you are not cocky. You are not braggadocio. You are very humble and beautiful. And I'm so glad to see you here, Emily. We're here every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking Raptors. I know if you love the Raptors, you're in the right place. All right. Hello, sweetie, to you also. Suzanne, Broussard was saying he talked to people pre-Masai era anyway. That was almost 10 years ago. Give me a break. Things have changed on perception of TO in the last 10 years. Even then, that wasn't accurate then either. And that's just knuckleheadedness. Like, I can understand if Broussard had a problem with the management of the Raptors and how shitty they were at that time. Yeah. But the city was never really like that. I mean, it has changed a bit. We have become more of a basketball city in a lot of ways. It was very much a hockey city at that time. Like, the Leafs were overpowering with everything in the city in different ways. But yeah, it's off base. Like, this is not even 10 years ago. This is 20 years ago this guy's talking about, Sue. It's so stupid. Joe Starks is saying, love it when Mo sits next to Nurse. It's clear his energy is calming, and we all know we need Nurse to stay calm to ensure coach genius efficiency. Go Raptors. Mo, yeah. You talking about Monique? That's the Mo we know here. But listen. Nick Nurse is a fantastic coach. Masai Ujiri is a great team president. Bobby Webster is a great GM. We just got good things going in here. And that's why Kevin Durant wants to be here. It is. Oh, yeah. Don Vito. Good to see another new name. Raptors let Lou Will go because we didn't want him around our younger players, like style-wise. I could see that. Lou Williams he's a real one. He's a baller. He's the sixth man. He's a Atlanta guy. But he could also rub off on the people on the wrong way. That's one of the things I loved about what Otto Porter Jr. said yesterday, that this team that we got in Toronto now has a good balance of vets and young guys. That we may have been really heavy on the younger players last year, but this year, having Thad come back and Otto Porter all of a sudden with him is badass. And Otto was talking about the importance of the vet guidance and stuff like that on this team, and that he's all about taking that part of that role. And he did talk about his friendship with Thad Young and playing together with him in Chicago, that they do have a relationship already, and that they're really cool with each other. And that in some ways, Thad and Otto are going to be kind of a tag team of dads on the team for like teaching the young guys and stuff like that. There's different levels of it. There's Fred and Pascal and Chris and OG, who are kind of like the championship guys from our team before. And they have a lot of the leadership. Like, Fred is still the captain. Fred is still the guy who's in charge. Like, honestly, he's the team leader. He's the Kyle Lowry. And Pascal's the leader as far as statistically and play on the court. And then Scotty's kind of like the energy and excitement and enthusiasm leader. And then you got Thad and Otto as kind of like these grizzled vets kind of leaders. and stuff like that. It's really good diversification of leadership roles on the Raptors. And the great thing is that the older guys, Thad and Otto, are able to understand how not to step on the toes of the younger, good vet leaders like Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam. So it's going to work really well. And I love Otto's presence on this team for all kinds of different reasons. I mean, he really is like a right in the middle of the bullseye kind of MLE pickup that we could have got. I didn't even think he was available or possible to be on the Raptors this year. That it was just a given that Golden State would retain him. That we got him was like, holy crap. Because when the mid-level exceptions started getting snatched up at the first night of free agency last week, a lot of good names were taken quick, like Lonnie Walker to the Lakers. And I was like, what the fuck are the Raptors going to do? What's going to be left over for us? This pantry's going to be bare. Well, trust in Masai and Bobby because they went and hit a home run and got Otto Porter Jr., who is like hits every single need and want that we want in one individual player. As far as veteran leadership, three-point shooting off the bench, spacing the floor, two-way player that can play both ends of the floor, and he's got a championship pedigree and all kinds of stuff. Oh my gosh, such a great signing. Like they've been hitting out home runs all summer. Masai and Bobby this summer. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. That's an interesting thing that, like, yeah, Lou Williams wasn't a good character guy to rub off on players. Otto Porter Jr. and Thad Young are. So yeah, Monique's saying, "Hey Lex, what did you think of Coloco's interview?" I thought Coloco was good. He seems really enthusiastic and excited to be involved with the Raptors. I love that the interviewer kept telling him, "This is your first professional thing now that you're practicing with the Raptors," and you could tell just pure joy in Coloco. And in some ways, this is a weird arrangement that he is on the Raptors. That out of all the teams that he could have been on or drafted on, this is probably number one, the team that he really wanted to be on. Obviously, because of his connection with Pascal, being from the same city in Cameroon, and maybe it's just other things. Like he said, he's been around Masai Ujiri for a few years now, and they've always had a vibe between the two of them. Like Masai has been really good at charming and saying, we're interested in you. And if the time is right and things happen, we're going to get you. And Coloco's probably like, oh man, that would be great. And boom, dreams can come true. And that's really what's happening for Coloco. Is a dream is coming true for him, that he gets to play with the greatest player from his country ever. That's right. I said that, Philadelphia. That's right. I said that. And that he's everything to Cameroon, Pascal Siakam. And now he gets to play alongside him. I'm so excited for him. There's so many good feel-good stories on this team. It's going to be really fun to see how they all integrate and play together over time. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let me keep going. There's so much here. I'm going to get to everything, guys. I promise you I will. I will read every single one. Seymour saying at Don Vito, lemon peppers. Sue saying, can you believe if KD is stirring it up and will stay in Brooklyn and make Kendrick Perkins right? Many saying he is nuts, but wouldn't that be funny if he's right? Yeah, I think it would be hilarious. Like, honestly, that's the thing. We got to we got to solidify ourselves and fortify ourselves from the shitstorm of toxicity that is Kevin Durant and just weather it. Either we get him or we don't. We just got to weather it. And honestly, I think this is going because of them getting free agents this week, Brooklyn Nets, and the way the Lakers are not making this Westbrook Irving thing happen, that I think that they're going to get stuck with these dudes, and there's going to be a real dumpster fire once again in Brooklyn this season. There's going to be all kinds of minefield of folly. They're going to step in it left and right in different ways where people aren't exactly happy, and different things like that are going to happen. So, hey, it's all good. If Brooklyn's not good, we're always happy about that. For sure. So, Sue, hey, Kendrick Perkins may be very smart on this. Duke Rocks is here. Agree. There is an agenda conspiracy against the Raptors coming from the U.S., especially from the media. I don't think U.S. media like the idea of KD making the Raps a contender for the chip. No, they don't. They don't. They don't want us to be relevant. They want us to be a bad team and to just go away. Somebody said this week, and I think it just rings so true. I forget who tweeted this, but I think it's so brilliant. The Toronto Raptors are who the NBA wishes the New York Knicks were. That if the Knicks were run and they were who we are, then the NBA would be so happy. But the franchise that the Knicks they wish were is Toronto. And that's so badass. And I love that in a way, just saying that because it is so true. that if the NBA had it their way, the NBA, the Knicks would be run like the Raptors and be the kind of team that the Raptors are, instead of the Raptors being like that. They'd be vice versa. They'd rather have us be like the Knicks are, the way they are incompetent and messed up and all this kind of stuff, and let them be like us, functional and healthy and have good things going, doing good things. It really is. And I'm liking this, and since we're in Toronto, is that like the Maple Leafs are the same kind of way as the Knicks. That when you have these old franchises that have been around forever, there's so much ego behind how to guide them and how to run them, that there isn't a singular person steering the ship like Masai Ujiri. That there's a whole bunch of different people chiming in, and there's no rhyme or reason to their overall plans over time because it gets switched around too much, or there's a push pull within the organization of wills of egos to force what they want on the team between a couple different people. So that's part of it. Like the Leafs have problems with their organization because they're a long time organization. They have a lot of prestige. There's a lot of ego. And there's a lot of people that want to have an imprint on how they're run. It's the same thing with the Knicks. The Knicks and the Leafs are the same team in their respective leagues. So that's the way I look at it. But I love that quote. It's exactly right. The NBA wishes the Knicks were the Raptors and vice versa. Then they could deal with everything so much easier for their agendas that Duke is talking about. Joe Starks is saying we all need to realize with all our players kicking and screaming, it's actually making the case for current players to see that our team and city is a place to be. I know this is kind of the backfire on what's happening is that Toronto's looking real good right now in every kind of way in this thing. Toronto's looking good as far as like Kevin's like looking at it. Toronto's looking good because we have the assets to make trades. The way that they pumped up OG Anunoby's value this summer with all the trade talks and different things, that is good in some ways. That's good for OG. And it's, in some ways it's good for the Raptors because we're getting more notoriety, even though it may mean we have to pay more if we want to keep OG down the road. But yeah, that's the crazy thing about it is that we're using everything to our advantage is basically what it is. And it's our management, the way they handle themselves and the way they do business that allows for us to use whatever scenario, whatever situation is happening with Kevin Durant to the best of our advantage, that we will make it work for us the best. Monique saying so many players are off the free agent board now. Yeah, a lot of people are going now. The Martin twins have now both been snatched up by their teams that they were on already. Cody Martin or whatever to Charlotte still, and then Caleb just got re-signed to I don't know, I might have gotten them mixed up, whatever. They're back on their teams basically. But yeah, there are some big names that are still out there though, and that it's really weird that they're kind of just hanging around out there. And some of them we understand, like Carmelo's out there. Carmelo Anthony. Anybody want Carmelo? Duke saying, remember, Stephen A. Smith said he hated the fact the Raps won the chip. Basically said Toronto should stick to hockey. There's a lot of this mentality. Like our best ally for having teams in Canada was David Stern. He was his whole vision of making the NBA more a global game. Well, there's a lot of people in the US that are xenophobic, that are really weird and kind of dumb, like Chris Bouchard, that don't understand Canada and don't understand things. And they feel like basketball, the NBA should purely be an American league, that there should not be a Canadian team, and that we're the outlier, we're aberration. And that this is why I've done a video on whether we should be worried that we could lose our team here in Canada. Is that there's very real forces out there that wish that we didn't exist, that we weren't in the NBA, and that we need to realize that. And we were kidding ourselves that you didn't understand that there is anti-Canadian sentiment. And some of it is really dumb and it's connected to like, idiots and political things and stuff like that. But some of it is also just people want it to just be an American sport. That like, the same thing with baseball. Like they don't like the Blue Jays for the same reason. Like when the Blue Jays won 2 World Series in the 90s, that was horrible for baseball in different ways. And that some people have always still don't want the Blue Jays to exist. That if they could have the MLB be all American, there's people that are the same kind of fight. So this is real. And like we're not, anybody who says that we're crazy for thinking this stuff, you're gaslighting us. And you need to just own up to the reality of the situation, that there are forces out there that don't want the Raptors to exist in Toronto. And that's just the damn truth. So T Green, number 5, good to see you. Another new name. Kawhi showed you need a top 5 player to win a championship. Don't get KD and no ring in the foreseeable future. So you're saying that it's a prerequisite. Well, you say you need a top 5 player to win a championship. That's not necessarily true, but it does definitely help. Now, what if we have a top player on our roster already that they just need to grow into it? Like I would say Pascal's a top 15 player just because he's all NBA. In fact, I would argue that maybe he's top 10. But who knows what Scotty Barnes could eventually grow into in the next couple of years? That this man could end up being a top 10 player, also, or a top 15 or top 20 player. Now, if you have a bunch of guys that are like top 15, top 20, top 30, and you have more of them, but all together, does that add up and beat a superstar? I don't know. That's kind of the team building that the Raptors have been doing, and the thing that we want to test. That even if we don't get Kevin Durant, I think we're still a championship contender. And that people don't think that you're kidding yourself. You need to realize that this team's really good and that we were not healthy last year and we could have had a way better record and may have been number 1 in the East if we had been healthy for the year last year. So if we're healthy this year and we're even better than last year, I don't understand why people don't think we can't contend for a championship. The only reason why they think that is because the NBA media in the US tells us that we're not in the picture, that we don't get mentioned with Milwaukee and Boston, even though we deserve to be. Trust me, that is the true reality. And it doesn't even matter if KD comes here. We're in the same sentence as them. Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, Toronto. Those 4 teams right there. Top of the East, baby. Right there. Oh, yeah. Rahul's saying, can you do an appreciation video of Masai and Bobby, the GOATs? I did Masai's already. I did his Share the Love Club, but we'll do Bobby too. We'll get Bobby done before the end of the summer for sure. Click saying, T Green, you need to understand the difference between when we got Kawhi and the present if we get Durant. It's not the same. There will be more disgruntled stars in the future. Our team is not even close to reaching their ceiling. We're going to trade valuable assets for 2 good years of KD and no one around to help. Yeah, I mean, it could be better than that, though. He could have more than 2 good years. There's a lot of different factors in here, and I understand what the argument is, and this is what we're talking about a little bit today: is to Kevin Durant or not Kevin Durant. And a lot of us are not Kevin Durant at this point, but I'm on the fence. I go either way. I don't have investment in either way. Like if we get Kevin Durant, I'm happy, sure. But if we don't, hey, I'm really happy about that also. So either way, I think we're gonna win either way. Monique saying, I believe he did one for Masai. Yeah, I did. I did one for Masai at the very beginning. I did the team, and then Masai was first. And we'll do Bobby. We'll do Bobby before the end of the season though too. Sue saying maybe Jacqueline was born in Ohio, but maybe she had lived in TO for some time in her life and considers it home. Otto Porter Jr. didn't say she was Canadian, only from TO. I see what you're saying. She's born in US. Can't find anything about Otto Porter's wife, only Jacqueline. I know she's the only woman that's socially linked with him online publicly. And that's what makes me think that maybe he broke up with her and he has a wife that's a totally different person, or she does have a linkage that you're saying, Sue, that's just not on social media, that maybe she is secretly Canadian. She doesn't want anybody to know, oh, I'm secretly Canadian. Monique saying Raptors will beat up on Chet. I think we will. Like, seriously, what's going to happen when Precious Achua comes and bumps a shoulder into him? I want to see Ron Harper Jr. take him to school in Summer League. Are we going to play Oklahoma City in Summer League? Because I want to see Ron Harper Jr. just body him right up underneath the basket and see that would be amazing. Sue saying Stephen A. Smith and most of U.S. media are annoying. It's okay for them to win at hockey, though, and have teams there. The whole thing hating on Raps in U.S. media is just ridiculous and xenophobic. These guys are Neanderthals. Well, it's because it's like they don't consider us their target audience. They don't consider Canadians watching their content from up here. They don't care. Like they'll slide us every which way because they don't really. It's not for us. It's for America. It's for them. So they really cater it towards them. But it's a really good portal to see the way media can shape belief and ways people think. And it's a real portal to see how this rhetoric and hate rhetoric and racist rhetoric that Trump is spurned on in the States turns into something like what happened on 4th of July with his kids shooting up a parade. That this is the same kind of thing. Like it's dangerous. Like when US media people start talking down Canada and treating us like we're lesser and stuff like that, it's very similar in some ways. Like it's a little bit less harmful than obviously the racist rhetoric, but it's the same kind of stuff. It's misinformation, it's hate that's put out that teaches people to not like something just because it's different. And it's a great opportunity to show that kind of stuff in that kind of way, is what I'm saying. So, once again, basketball is really good for holding a mirror to society and societal problems and understanding them a little bit easier by seeing it, how the mechanism works with the way they shade and slander Toronto and the Raptors. And well, that's the way they're doing it with, like, trans people. That's the way they're doing it with gay people. That's the way they're doing it with Asian people and different hate groups in the United States also. It's the same kind of shit. Chris Bouchard is a xenophobe who was promoting Canadian hate on TV this week, and he's getting called out for it, which is good. Six Canada TV saying we are only going to have 2 or 3 spots open for new NBA players to make the team. Yeah, we're trying to figure it out. Koloko, Delano Banton, and I say Ron Harper Jr. And if we cut Svi, Justin Champagny. So that's the thing. That's the way I look at it right now. These rest of these guys, I don't think there's much chance for them. And it could be that we cut Malachi too, and boom, we get another one. I don't know. There's all kinds of different ways we can go with this, but roster spots are few and far between because we have a solid 10 on top already. I mean, you look at the solid 10 vets that we have that are going to be on the team for sure. Pencil them in. And then trying to figure out those last 5 spots, Koloko, Delano, Svi, and Malachi right now because they're under contract, and then there's just one spot. So it's like, who's it going to be? We'll have to see. Summer League will determine a lot of this, so we'll have to see how it goes. Raymond Jacobs saying, I wonder if Hostess ketchup chips offered to sponsor Scotty. I wonder what he would say. I think that these big companies are missing the boat, and they don't realize how eager the Big Four, Scotty Barnes, is to get sponsored and promote these products. He loves Lay's potato chips, y'all. Lay's, come and get him. Canada, Hostess, come get him. He's waiting for that bag. He's calling out for it. Gatorade, Powerade, whichever, BioSteel, whoever wants to send him money, he will be in your ad. He's all about it. He is all about being an advertiser and endorsing products. So come at him with a bag. You will get a good endorsement from the Big Four, and you will sell stuff because of him. Trust me. Oh my gosh. Summer Lowe is here. Good to see Summer. I missed you this summer, Summer. Summer is one of the best here. She is a very learned Raptor freak. Is it confirmed? No KD. It's not confirmed though, KD, but no, we're not hearing anything, and there's no traction. And the way things are evolving, Summer, in my opinion, it's looking like Brooklyn's getting in worse position to deal him. Like if Ayton just straight up signs with Indiana, then Phoenix is off the table as a trade partner. And then that really means like Toronto is really who they're going to concentrate on trying to figure this out. I honestly think that Kendrick Perkins is right, that they're going to eat this whole trade talk bullshit this whole time, and they're just going to have them back and run it back with Kyrie and Kevin. That nobody's going to help Brooklyn out, and that they're just going to have them come right back and have to play with them this year. So Seymour saying DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and 5 picks still isn't enough for me, KD. Anonymous GM on Kevin Durant trades. I know they're crazy. They want so much. They don't understand that they're the ones in trouble, that they're the ones in the weaker position. They think they're the ones in the power position, but they're not. And maybe in normal circumstances, having Kevin Durant and being what you're trading, you would be, but not when it's like this. Not when it's like you're desperate or you want this to happen. Because you already played a hand that this is bad. It's going to hurt your team if you keep him. And so now you really need to move him. And that just means we can keep lowering what we want to give you guys. Like, yeah, this was the offer yesterday, Bobby says, but now you know what? You get 2 less picks in the offer today because time has elapsed. And your chances and options for getting rid of Kevin are getting worse and worse, is the kind of thing that's happening. Click saying, well, I'm going to go pre-order the new 2K. That's awesome, Click. Get it and get in there. Because yesterday, Scotty wanted people to play with. He didn't have his crew with him, but he wanted to play. He said, chat, if you're on 2K and you get in here quick enough, you can play on my team right now. And that is not normal. I was telling the chat, I was like, this is your summer league chance, chat. Get your 2K fired up and get out there and play with Scotty Barnes on his 2K team. This is your chance. Get in there. And nobody really stepped up and got in there or something like that. He didn't play for much longer after that. But I was like, damn, if I had 2K and I was able to play, I would jump at that chance to try and play 2K with Scotty Barnes on his team. Oh my gosh. Annie David, good to see another new name. Hello, Annie. Welcome. Scotty is a hooper. He wanted to play summer league, but the Raptors held him out to protect him. I know. It's crazy. Like, he was disappointed. Like, I was there when he was doing it on his Twitch. He pulled up the roster. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not on the roster, guys." He knew he wasn't going to be on the roster, but he did kind of feign disappointment a little bit. Like, he totally would play in it if they had asked him. Like, he could be eligible to play it, but they don't need to see anything further from him. They know what's going on with him. They don't need to investigate him further to whether he should be on the roster. They know they want him on the roster, that man is probably going to be an all-star this year, and that he's starting for us, and that there's nothing to figure out with him, and that it would only be an injury risk. So there's no reason to put him out there. Monique saying, Lex, now I see Nate Mitchell being 905 coach. I mean, we were right about Gleason being the summer league spot. That's right, Monique. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2 on these coaching predictions for these spots. I think that you're right, that Nathaniel Mitchell will be the coach of the Raptors 905 this season. I'm looking forward to seeing him taking the helm from Patrick Mutombo and seeing what kind of job he can do for the 905 this year. And yeah, Gleason ended up being the guy for the summer league, and it's gonna be fun to see him in particular, like on Saturday and with some of these games too. Six Canada saying, "Can you talk about the Raptors summer league team again?" All right, just real quick in summary, uh, uh, Koloko, Delano, Ron Harper, I want them to make the team. I think they're going to be the ones that make the team. We haven't even seen Ron Harper in a Raptor jersey yet, but I have a good, strong feeling about him. I actually have a spreadsheet. Let me just run through it because honestly, I didn't do this justice yesterday because of getting cut off in my stream for dissing Chet Holmgren. So number one, Christian Koloko, he's going to make the team. He's the center we wanted. We finally drafted a center. We haven't had anybody over 7 feet for so long. The man's going to be on the team. He's our draft pick. Delano, just because it's Toronto connection, he's made big strides. We've heard good things about him this summer so far. In fact, what Trevor Gleason said about Delano is he wants him to be off the ball in summer league. Like, look for him not to carry the ball so much in this summer league play. He wants him to be off the ball and scoring for him. And that Delano said in his interview, he's going to be trying to do everything possible to help his team win. So I think that Delano is going to be kind of a scorer during summer league. He may not actually be bringing the ball up the court, dribbling the ball up the court, that he may be off ball more. That's what Trevor Gleason said yesterday. So that should be very interesting. Ron Harper Jr., already talked to him a lot already today. Justin Champagne, he's got that fire and that desire. He really wants to play. If he can get his three-point shot more consistent, continues to crash the boards, continues to show that he's a dog in the fight, then he should be all right. Like, he's very liked in the culture of the Raptors. He's a valued teammate and stuff like that. So I think he does have a good inside track to make the team. That it's just, it may take like getting rid of somebody else that's already got a contract right now. As far as like next after that, I had Armani Brooks is working really hard, but I think he's just on the outside looking in, and that he's probably not going to be a part of our team going forward. I love DJ Wilson. I think he's great, but he's got the right size for us. But once again, he's just on the outside, just barely looking in. It's too bad for him. I'd love to see him on 905 this year. David Johnson, I think his time may have passed for him. So I don't know if he'll get more time with the Raptors this year. Abu Kajab, he is fantastic looking from being from Toronto area. I really want to see him with his long arms and see if he can be a positionless kind of player that we like. If he's got any kind of jump shot or something like that, he could have some sort of chance. And then ranking the other guys who are kind of no-name guys, we got Alex Barcello, who's kind of a shooter. If he's a really good shooter, he may have a chance. I've got him ranked 9th on the Summer League roster. Ryan Hawkins is a big player, but he's kind of a no-name. He's also, you can tell somebody's not really got a chance to make the Raptors team when they don't have a Wikipedia page. Let's just put it that way. You go put their name in, they don't have anything on Wikipedia, then you're kind of like, is this guy really going to make the NBA? Jalen Sims is another guy like that. I have him ranked a little higher just because he's 6'6", and that's a little bit closer to our prototype for what we want on our roster. And then the other guys are all like little guards, like Jeff Downton, Christian Vital, Trey Porter. These guys are all smaller point guards, and I don't really see, like, they're probably just there to get the tryout. They're not very realistic to make the team because, first of all, they're not positionless, and they're probably not good enough. And then the last guy I have ranked is Kurax, and it's really because, like, why is he even here? There's a lot of people coming down on the Raptors organization for including him on our summer league. Listen, I gotta say this: people make mistakes in their life, and sure, it's very egregious the mistake that Karax made in his Brooklyn apartment with his girlfriend 3 or 4 years ago. But he was punished by the law, and he did feel his crime and stuff like that. And it may be that he's learned from this. Second chances are important too, also for people who make mistakes. And it may be that the Raptors have done their due diligence and they understand that he's paid for this. He has a lot of remorse and that he's not ever going to do something like this again. So it's real easy to paint a picture of somebody with just one incident and just brand them for life. But you also have to realize that people change. People do get like become better people. Now, some people are saying, well, he shouldn't even get another chance just because there's so many people out there that are fighting for the chances and he's had a chance and stuff like that. Well, I agree. I agree with that maybe he shouldn't be on the Raptors Summer League and that it was a waste of a spot. But it could be that, like somebody had said, that they're doing a favor for an agent or something like that or whatever. But I don't think that he has a realistic chance. Now, if he came into Summer League and he's absolutely badass, and he looks like some sort of crazy scorer off the bench that we could actually use this year, would you guys be upset if he did hang around? That's the thing we've got to understand is that, once again, we have to trust Bobby and Masai. You cannot think just because they looked into it and they said, yeah, we would like to try him out, that there's something wrong with them. That there may be things that Kurax has done in the years since to show good faith, that he is not an abuser, that he is not somebody that beats up women, that was one incident that where he lost his temper and he's very regretful and remorseful since. So, and it's not that I encourage or want that kind of behavior or anything like that around the team. It's just that we have to look at the whole picture and maybe we don't understand it all. Like the same thing happened with Terrence Davis. I don't condone what he did either. But people came down on him very, very hard without even really having completely all the details. And that, this was really for a court of law to figure out, not a court of public opinion in some ways. And it did get figured out that way. And it's the same kind of thing with Kurax. I do not endorse domestic abuse or the abuse of women or abuse of anybody in any kind of way. And if I had my way, I wouldn't have invited Kurax. So don't get it twisted. But at the same token, we also have to allow for second chances and people changing and being a better person down the road also. So there you go, Six Canada. That's my nutshell of the Summer League roster and who I think realistically has a chance. That's what I should have said yesterday, but I got cut off. Click saying Scotty not playing but Detroit is going to play their entire roster in Summer League. Yeah, it's hilarious. That Detroit team is pretty much the starting Detroit team that's at Summer League right now because all their players are so young and so good. Like Cade's there, Beef Stew's there, Killian's there, Jaden Ivey. They have pretty much the regular Detroit Pistons team playing for them in Summer League right now. It's hilarious. But that's the way they are. That's the team structure, and these guys could all benefit from it. But it is kind of interesting that Cade's playing and Scotty isn't. That is very interesting in some ways because in some ways, like Scotty's peers are Evan Mobley and Cade Cunningham as far as from his rookie class. Those are the dudes who are around the same level as him. And Cade is playing in Summer League, but Scotty is not. So you take that. I think that's good. That's good for our guy in some ways. So Sue's saying Thaddy Daddy and Papa Porter. All right. So we got Papa Porter and Thaddy Daddy. I love it, Sue. I love it. Those are good nicknames. Monique is saying preach, Otto preach. I know it all so well. Guys, just so you know, Otto Porter has a nickname already and it's Bubba. So we're going to start calling him Bubba. Hey, Bubba. Yeah, because that's what they call him. Bubba. Seriously. I know some of you are going to call him Wilt, but I'm going to call him Bubba. Bubba. It'll get back to my Tallahassee roots, Tallahassee, Florida. We got lots of Bubbas down in Tallahassee, Florida. All right, let's see. Six candidates saying how much spots are open on the Raptors team for those Summer League players. We determined that with all right, let's see. I've got the list right here of who's actually on the Raptors team. Pascal, Fred, Gary, Scotty, OG, Kim, Precious, Chris Boucher, Thad Young, Otto Porter. That's 10 right there. That's 10 solid roster guys. Then you got Koloko, who's be 11, Delano, who's going to be 12. And then you got Svi and Malachi, who are both contract guys, but they could get cut. And then you have just one other left. And that's why I think it's going to be the Ron Harper Jr., Justin Champagnie, Armani Brooks, in between those guys. And unless they cut Svi and Malachi, and then they have two more spots for other guys. But really, realistically, they're fighting for one spot as it is. Ron Harper Jr., Justin Champagnie, Armani Brooks, DJ Wilson. Those guys are all fighting for one spot. David Johnson. So that's it. Monique's saying 3 spots all together, but Coloco and Delano pretty much have 2 of them locked up. Yeah. 6 is saying we already know who's taking those spots, Ron Harper Jr. and Christian. That's who I think it'll be. I mean, we wouldn't have signed Ron Harper Jr. to a 2-way already and not had him coming in. He needs to get his chance. Justin and David had their chances last year as undrafted 2-way players. And that, Justin hopefully will still get it in the roster somehow, some way. And I'm hoping that's by buying out Svi Mihalik, but we'll have to see. Let's see. Monique's saying, I love Kendrick Perkins on KD. Fuck you. Patrick's saying, I'm back. I love it. Michael Borland here again. I love it. I'm just happy we're now involved in these sort of talks. Wouldn't have happened a decade ago. This is true. It is a sign of maturity for the Raptors franchise that we are our power player in the league, that we are respected, that we are involved in superstar talks. Forget about free agency destinations. Well, one of the huge, big superstars of the recent generation of the NBA is asking to possibly be traded to Toronto. And that says a lot about us, and that's a huge compliment. 6 Canada TV saying a Canadian-made basketball, so really it's our sport, and they should get down on their knees and thank us. I love it. I love it. Yeah, for sure. Dr. James Naismith is a Canadian, and we had the first ever NBA game here in Toronto at Maple Leaf Gardens in 1946. New York Knicks at Toronto Huskies. First ever NBA game played here in Toronto. Nowhere else. First one was played here. Joseph Stark saying, guys, look at this Bocelli kid. He reminds me a ton of Steve Nash with better shot and better athleticism. He has been training every day since he was 3. Pure baller, diamond in the rough. Yeah, he's a long shot. Seriously, if he can fulfill this shooting, if he's a dead eye and he can just be counted on, if he's what Svi used to be last year, well, maybe he gets Svi's spot. That's what I'm saying. The opportunity is there for these young guys. It's just they need to go and grab that brass ring with their best effort ever in their life. That this is Eminem, 8 Mile. You better you don't have a chance to blow. Opportunity knocks. All that kind of stuff is going on for these players that are on the cusp of possibly making the Toronto Raptors roster and stuff like that. And Barcelo, however you say your name, maybe it's Red Barchetta. I don't know. We love that rush up here in Toronto. Yeah, Red Barcelo. Come and play for a Red Raptor jersey. We would love to see you succeed and kill it. You make all your shots, you're on the team. How about that? Patrick Douglas is saying, don't refer winning the NBA as a world championship then. Yeah, exactly. If they're going to be xenophobic and they're going to want an inclusive, only American league, then, we're the part of it that makes it a world thing. You take us out of it, then it's not a world championship anymore. In fact, they were calling it a world championship before we existed, y'all. I have old Pistons championship shirts that say world champions on it. Is that really real or something like that? Yeah, in some ways I would say so. Because if you take the NBA champion and you put it up against any champion of other leagues, and this would be fun if this evolved to someday, you take the champion of the Australian League, they take the champion of the Spanish League, take the champion of every single major league and have a tournament of champions, a global tournament of champions, I will bet you money the NBA team will probably win. And that would be really the best way to really determine who is the world champion. Have a global world champion tournament where you take the champion of every single, and you do it in the summer where you have just and you have it very exclusive. You don't have it be a major big thing like 32 teams. You just have 8 leagues, 8 world champions, and they all come in and just play a straight up single elimination tournament to determine who is actually able to claim the title world champion of the world in basketball. And that would be the best way to do it, honestly, to me, Patrick. But you're right. You want to cut the Raptors out of the league and still think that your champions are world champions? That's going in the wrong direction. Monique saying, Brian Winders has been awesome lately. Thank you. This is the thing. In today's day and age of disinformation, bullshit artists, people lying for their own good, getting more money, you don't know who people's motives are anymore. See, I'm not making any money doing this. I'm dedicated to come here. That's why y'all like me, because you can tell I'm real. And I'm just speaking from my heart. Well, Brian Winders is one of these people also at this point, that this man has realized that the sweet spot for him as a pundit at ESPN is to just tell it like it is. And there's so many people making a bullshit and just being full of shit that, when a real voice and somebody who actually sounds like, this guy knows what he's talking about, that people gravitate towards that in this world today, because there's so much bullshit artists out there at this point. And that's why Winders is on a streak. And he may be the most trusted NBA ESPN personality at this point. Click saying the first team we play is Philly. I want to give them the beats. Yeah, I do too, man. Oh man, that Philly Toronto rivalry is so good, and I love that their fans come in here and talk to us here, and we have an interaction between Raptor Nation and Sixer Nation on this channel. It's so fun. It baffles me now how U.S. treats us like a worse country, yet their problems are so much worse than ours. Hypocrites. It's that kind of thing where, like, if you have two individuals and one of them has serious problems in their life, but they don't want to look at them, they'll deflect. And that's what's happening here, y'all. The U.S. is deflecting. Like anything that Chris Bouchard said about Canada, you should actually turn around and apply it to the U.S. That the U.S. may be not safe for African Americans, that maybe that is the problem area, that down there is not safe for your children to go to school right now and stuff like that. That is what Click is saying, and that is what I'm saying too. Is like they may be doing a little bit of deflecting from their own problems and trying to project them onto us and stuff like that. And no, you guys are messed up. Like just like in the last month, you guys have gone so turned for the worse. As far as like these shootings that are happening every day, the Supreme Court justice is out of pocket with their craziness of not really representing the majority of what U.S. people want anymore. You guys are slipping into fascism. Like you guys might as well be like, all right, where was Germany at this time 100 years ago around this time, like in 1922? Well, you guys are looking like Germany around 1922 right about now, and y'all need to watch out, because you got your own little orange Hitler who's still around and still talking. So you need to put him in jail and make an example of him. Because if you don't put him in jail, somebody else is going to try some bullshit like January 6th again. And you need to make an example of him, U.S. And if you don't, well, hello, you're going to just be like Nazi Germany in the next 10 years. Trust me, it will happen that way. So you need to put this fire out before it gets too big, is what I'm saying right now. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I get a little political here. And if you guys don't like politics, it's kind of what I do also here. So, all right, let's keep going. Monique's saying, screw Philly. Let's go Raptors. Yes, let's go Raptors. Fuck Philly. Monique's saying also, I love Chris Boucher's message to Broussard. Yeah, he said he's a goof or something like that. He said, this is the goofiest take I've ever seen. Chris Boucher, awesome. What an awesome week. It's so fun to see him in St. Lucia this week, like with his family there. He was on a jet ski this week, Chris. Hang on. This is so funny. Like, the dude's so big. Like, he had to have like the biggest jet ski, and he's just out there ripping around in this bay in St. Lucia. And like, there's people in boats that are in the water near him, and he's just like, he's like, I was worried for these people. They were like, whoa, because he's just ripping it up out there. He's like, the jet ski, he had a blast. And I love that Chris is back in the fold. They didn't announce his signing though yesterday, like I thought they would, because he was eligible to be announced as re-signed with the team, but they didn't really announce it because I guess he's not in town. So maybe he'll show up in the next couple of days from his vacation in St. Lucia with his family down there, and he'll do a press conference saying, yeah, I'm back and I'm on the team again. Or maybe he won't. I don't know. But yeah, I love Chris Boucher, and I'm so happy to see him happy in St. Lucia. You could really tell that trip down there was recharging for him, for his vitality, his spirit. You know how it is when you get time with your family on vacation and you feel the love and you feel that kind of thing. I really feel like Chris is getting that this weekend, a recharge down south with the people that really love him in a place from where he's from. So that's awesome. I absolutely love that. Yeah, Sue loves it too. Monique saying Curex has no chance. I'm pretty sure you're right. Curex is a lob threat and nothing more. Is Bonga still around, or did they let him walk? Isaac Bonga was in the same situation as Yuta Watanabe. He was a free agent completely, and we let him walk. He's just in the free agent pool with everybody else right now. So, yeah, Isaac's not coming back. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing with him and Watanabe. That's already part of last year that we've kind of already sloughed off. And sad to say, but true. True. It's just how it is. Monique's saying for now, Bonga is here. Okay, well, I haven't seen anything official about him getting signed or anything. I know he's a unrestricted free agent right now, so I haven't seen him officially signed. But maybe there's the kind of thing where he's going to stick around. He'll be on our 905 anyway, but maybe he's just not going to be on the main roster in any kind of way because he was a two-way last year. Rahul's saying KD is not requesting get traded to Toronto. We're not on his list, but if Masai gets the chance to talk to KD and get an indication from him, he's will to play Toronto, then Masai will get him. No, that's not what's happening, Rahul. No, KD has requested to be traded to the Brooklyn, and he has a short list of teams that he'll get traded to, and we're on that list. So that's not actually true. It's not that he's getting requested to get traded. Yeah, he wants to be traded to us. He'd rather play for Toronto than Brooklyn at this point. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, we're on the short list. The short list is like Miami, Phoenix, and us. So that's basically the basics of it. And it's what's not lining up is that Brooklyn from their end think that they can get the farm for him. And they're not realizing that they're the ones that don't have the leverage, that we have the leverage and that we're standing where we are, that they can't just say, yeah, we want Scotty for KD. We're saying, no, you're not going to get Scotty. Well, then we want Pascal. No, you're not going to get Pascal. This is what we're offering. And this is all we'll offer you. And that's the impasse that's going on right now and stuff like that. Like KD will come to Toronto tomorrow. Trust me. He would come to Toronto tomorrow. If they had that deal announced, he would be here on a plane and back here in Toronto right away. And it is interesting that he's gone on silence from all of his friends. Like apparently other NBA superstars are trying to contact him and talk to him about what's going on. And he's not taking any of their calls and stuff like that. So very interesting. Sue's saying also if U.S. media wants to be all-American, then maybe they shouldn't have international players either, but they wouldn't want that. They think all international players must love U.S. because they think that the U.S. is the best in the world. You know, it's not everybody down there. I don't want to paint a broad stroke. There's just some stupid Americans. They think they're super patriotic because they're so American that they're anti everything else. I know because I grew up in this environment that they really believe like America's number one. We're infallible. We're perfect. We're so awesome and stuff like that. And that everybody is second to them no matter what on any kind of ranking, where it's absolutely not true at this point. And that it's that kind of mentality that they want America, America, America. And you're right. They will import players from all around the world and have the best players play in the league and still like that. You've got to realize the difference between the average NBA fan is fine with having Toronto and loves Toronto being in the league. It's just there's an outspoken vocal xenophobic section of NBA fan that is like this also. So, and they're not as big. They're a minority in the whole group and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's stupid. It's dumb. And, Chris Bouchard is a good example of that in the media and just showing it, how it manifests and stuff like that. So, Monique's saying, Lex, if you ever need a co-host to monitor your live stream, let me know when we're on together. For sure, Monique. I would love to do any kind of project with you where it's like I've seen you do YouTube clips with other people, be on guests on people's shows before. Like if we can collaborate at any point in the future, I'm all about it. Like if it's us doing a show together, if it's us just doing a one-off where we just hang out and talk, I would still love to do this whole thing where maybe we stream you and I trading basketball cards and just talking about basketball and having a good time and doing deals like that. I think people would enjoy watching that. Just seeing us interact and talking about basketball players and trying to make deals with the cards. Like we were being our own little Bobby Websters at the table and saying, oh, no, I can't trade you Magic for a Scotty Barnes. Oh, wait, yeah, I can. Here, you can have this old Magic Johnson card if you can trade me this Scotty Barnes card that you have two of or something like that. That's what I'm talking about, Monique. I think that would be good content, but we can do a regular kind of Raptors content also. We could do a more set up one too. It'd be really awesome. We could get a whole team together, like get you, me, and Greg together and put all three of our forces together. It'd be badass. Patrick's saying, in these times, it's good to be associated with a class organization. Yeah. Like seriously, like that is important. Like the dumpster fire ratings that I did on Sunday are really indicative of like how you can win this league. Like last year going into the season, I was like, there's so many teams that are dysfunctional and toxic on the down low. that these teams shouldn't be realistically looked at as contenders. And the two biggest ones were the Lakers and the Nets. And I was like, yeah, this experiment with Kyrie, Kevin, and Harden is not going to go well. It's not. And I was exactly right. That if you want to win championships in the new NBA, you may really have to start with your organization and make sure that it's healthy and functional and working well. Rahul saying I missed an important comment by him. Which comment was it? There's so many comments. Sometimes I skip over the ones that I don't see. Rahul, the only one that I see from you recently is that Katie is not requesting the trade, the one that I did say. If you want, just write in the one that I missed, and I'll do it again. If you already did, I'll write it. I'll read it for sure. Sue's saying, yes, Lex, Sierra Leone is moving forward with women's right to choose, and U.S. is moving backwards. So sad. They're in such trouble in the U.S. with all this going on there. Yeah, that's crazy. Sierra Leone has been a country that has had so many problems with poverty and different things, violence, different things happening there, that they're more progressive, that they're giving rights to women. Meanwhile, the U.S. is taking rights away. You tell me who is the leader in the world today. This is not a leader. This is a regressor, the United States at this point. Rose saying none of the big reporters mentioned Raptors on the short list. Where did you see that, Raptors freak? You missed my main comment after Raptors super fan. Is it the one after a Bonga comment? Listen, Rahul, I've seen a lot of different people say that we are on the short list. Like I've heard Kevin say it himself, that we are actually on his very short list. Like I think that if he had his pick, we're number one, honestly, because it just makes sense. Kevin looks at it from the outside. We're the closest to getting him another championship. If you look at what Kevin is really worried about right now, it's his legacy. He's worried about getting more championships to be up there with LeBron and Steph. That Steph has now won a championship without him after he's left. He has things to prove as far as his legacy and winning championships. And that means that Kevin wants to be traded to a position where he can have the best chance to win a championship. And if he's looking at Miami, Phoenix, and us, that we may be the one that is easiest as far as like what would be given up, going back the other way and coming with him and still being here. That the Raptors are the most attractive of all those. That's what I'm saying. Now, Rahul, if I missed the comment, just go ahead and write in exactly what I missed, and I'll just repeat it right now because I don't want to miss anything important that you said. And it maybe, I don't know if there was a glitch or something because I thought I read everything. Click saying the NBA media is running out of things to talk about. They talk about the same thing for the last 8 days. I know, me too. I mean, I run out of things to talk about too. And he thinks that Mark Cuban is going to get fired. I don't know how Mark Cuban would get fired. He owns the team, so I don't think he can get fired. I think he's annoying to the NBA head office because he's so outspoken and he's caused them problems, and they find the hell out of him over the years. But he owns the team. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. There's some real power in Mark Cuban, and I love that he is a real maverick in the league because he is. He is a maverick. He's a good owner for this league because he is progressive and he does good things for his team. He really cares about his team. And he is a thorn in the side to the NBA on officiating and things like that. He comes and he tells them where they're doing things wrong, and he gets them to improve. So Mark Cuban's awesome. I don't understand how they'd fire him. They can't. He owns a team. I mean, they could do something to him like Donald Sterling, but they have no grounds to do that, really. They can't really do what they did to Donald Sterling to him. So yeah, I see that 3-hour live stream. Oh, we're at 2.5 hours. Hey, all right. I'm going to probably finish up right around now. We can get 2.5 hours in today. Click saying he never said we're on our list, but there's evidence that he would like playing here. I swear I heard a list. Like I saw a list of Kevin has preferred destinations and that we were on that. I mean, there's no reason. There's a reason why Windhurst and Woj and Shams are talking about Raptors involved in this. Because listen, if we weren't on a list that Kevin had, we wouldn't be talked about. It'd be a non-starter. We'd just be like Sacramento or other teams that aren't getting mentioned in all this. So I think there is a list. It may not be spoken outright, but there is a list that the Nets are looking at as far as who Kevin would like to play for. Let's see. Monique saying, I just wanted to see Kevin break a leg. Monique, we can't say that. We're Raptors fans and 2019 finals happened. We can't say that. We don't want to reinforce that we were happy he got hurt. I never was happy that Kevin got hurt, and I don't want him to get hurt or anything like that. All right, let's see. David's saying, good show this morning. Thanks Thank you, David S. I appreciate you and your brother being here. Rahul saying important news that Rico Hines helped with the development of Siakam and he's joined the Raps coach. What? Rico Hines is hired by the Raptors and we're going to get him on our team directly? Another home run by Raptors GM and Masai Ujiri. Oh my gosh, if they got Rico Hines directly, he's coming here. He's going to be here like Earl Watson. That is fantastic. That is badass. And I want Scotty Barnes to go to Rico Hines this summer with Pascal and work with them when they start running it. Yeah, I'll check it out. We'll see it for sure. Hey, I love breaking news, Rahul. Breaking news. I'll take you for truth for right now until it's proven otherwise. I know it can be BS from sometimes. I'm going to go see if Lewenberg's saying anything. He's usually the best one to check. You guys want to know exactly what's happening with the Raptors and you want to know if it's actually true, go see what Josh Lewenberg is saying. Well, he hasn't said anything yet about Rico Hines. Let's see if Blake Murphy said anything. Blake Murphy, yeah, well, all right. He is saying something about it, but okay, hang on. What is it saying? Not confirmed by the team, but Rico Hines said a goodbye to the Kings on his IG, and Ira Watson welcomed him to Toronto. In addition to the shirt post, not hard to see connections here, given Rico's relationship with a number of Raps. So, okay. That's interesting. You know what? It could be that I don't know. He said goodbye to the Kings. So he's been working for the Sacramento Kings. And Earl Watson saying hello, welcome to the Raptors. Well, then maybe this is what's happening. That Rico Hines is going to be a new assistant coach on the Toronto Raptors this year. It looks like if Blake Murphy is posting it, that it's a real one. So, all right, guys, I appreciate y'all. Hit that subscribe button, like Patrick said. I appreciate everybody for being here this morning. What a great live stream. Lots of great voices and great comments and different stuff. Listen, we didn't even really talk about Kevin too much. We did. But listen, I think we're all on the same page at this point. Kevin, it'd be nice, but this is getting too toxic and weird. So maybe just go away. Like, go make your decision. If you go to Phoenix, like we said, if this man, Kevin Durant, is wearing this jersey next season, it ain't going to be a problem for us. So it's like, as Drake said, honestly, never mind, Kevin. We don't care. You got to go ahead and do whatever you're going to go do. I appreciate y'all. I'll be back tomorrow with my Friday Freak Out, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can count on the Raptor Freak every morning. We're getting to 300. It'll be $299 tomorrow. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Rico Hines for Summer League. Let's see if he makes it to the main roster. We got to see that. Way to go, Monique. I appreciate you. All right, let's go Raptors. Be proud, Raptor Nation. We are in no-lose scenarios. We're going to win no matter what happens. Let Kevin decide whatever he's going to do. We're going to be badasses either way because we got Big Roy, Scotty Barnes, and he has the eye of the tiger, baby. Eye of the tiger. Dun, dun, dun.